get off the...
I can come over right now. Like right now.
Welcome everybody to the Airwave Radio. I'm here with my good friends Caleb, also known as K-Tub via Twitter. I'm also here with my good friend Dylon, otherwise known as Trip Mac, with a V.
In some countries, it's pronounced Dylan.
In very few.
And here today, we're here to talk about Twitter and the science of Twitter, and what better to talk about it with than with you guys?
Mr. Viral himself.
Yeah.
Alfred, you went viral?
No.
No,
That was you.
dude.
The only reason I met you is because of a viral tweet.
Yeah. Really, before I get crazy.
Wait, before you get really crazy, how did you guys meet?
Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter, okay.
Even before I'll get into that really quick.
Okay.
Can I curse? Is that cool?
Yeah.
That's cool for your channel? Okay. I didn't know.
Fuck
What
yeah.
the fuck is up, guys? What
Stop.
the fuck is good? I didn't know if I could fucking curse.
All right.
Okay, so-
All right. Actually,
so-
you can. You can.
I just see like the demonetization just going down.
So
Ad revenue just hitting zero.
It's
bro,
just tanking.
Bro, it's okay. I did YouTube. I'm doing YouTube for 2.5 years now, and they already cut my monetization.
They striked you
I
3
don't-
times
No,
already?
no,
They striked-
not that. But they changed the monetization rules. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
making
yeah,
money,
yeah.
and then they were like, "Nah, we're gonna need
'Cause you
those
gotta
pennies
be
back." And now I'm not making money anymore. So I also kind of need to upload more, but that's a different story.
Yeah. Well, they changed it to like 4,000 views average or like 1,000 subscribers, correct?
Yeah, it's 1,000 subscribers and it's 4,000 watch hours, I believe. And
watch hours.
Watch hours.
Oh, damn.
And as of right now, I have like I think barely 3,000. So it's like
Just shy.
yeah, so that's almost there.
But you were gonna get into how we
Yeah.
met.
Okay. So should I?
You can shame me. Go for it.
Okay, so basically, he got a really big head and kind of forgot his roots for a little bit and where he came from. But so I had heard
You guys are
stories.
like- thinks
he's my roots.
I had heard stories of the elusive K-Tub in the Antelope Valley,
Right.
and of this soul, right?
Right.
And so on Twitter, I would see him pop every now and then. I'd be like, "Yo, this guy's freaking hilarious!" But he's older than me. He's cooler than me. He's not gonna mess with me. He's not gonna like me. And then so then all of a sudden, his head exploded when his Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy tweet
Oh,
blew
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And so naturally, I was
And
like,
gave no credit to Dalton.
on the side.
Dalton was like, tag me. And I was like, yeah, bro, I'll tag you.
Never tagged.
And so and then I followed him from that tweet.
Right.
And I waited and no follow back. And,
Okay. Objection, Your Honor.
You sound like
Granted, I had, and I'm not flexing here, I got like a couple hundred followers from that. So it may have just been the fact that I did see that you followed me.
okay,
they're
so
just flooding in, I'm sure. Couldn't keep up with it.
It low-key was. It was one of those things where
yeah.
where like you refresh your notifications and it's 20 plus. And then you
Oh,
can
yeah,
scroll
yeah.
up to the top and you can refresh again and it's 20 plus.
Right.
And it's just like that non-stop. You can just stare at your screen for like hours.
now that
But
I've seen that.
did you have the
firsthand-
notifications on though?
Yeah. I was totally kind of like
Big head.
I was kind of well it was my first big viral tweet, so I was kind of like an attention whore for it. Like I literally would set my phone down and watch it and never lock because it would just constantly
going
get
off.
notifications.
And like, yeah. Okay, so I mean, I'll just be quick, the blunt story. So yeah, he didn't follow me back. I think I unfollowed him and followed him again. I played that game that guys like to play.
Yeah,
with
he
girls.
tried to
Yeah.
get my attention.
Yeah, it was one of those things where Caleb was like, "No, sweetie, I saw it the first time. I just didn't want to follow you." And then so,
And then he DM'd me and he was like, "Hey, bitch."
did I DM you? I know I didn't. Okay, I was like, that sounds like something I do, but no, but then eventually he followed me back and we kind of just became Twitter friends. And then it kind of got to the point where like we just had such similar interests, I feel like, and
We bonded over Pokemon and Marvel comics.
yeah, which is like the number one things you want to bond with someone over, and then the rest is history. And it just kind of met up, and that's it.
Okay. The way me and Keita met was via Twitter as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
surprised.
Well, we met through Danny.
It's kind of
yeah,
a
we met through
Twitter
Danny.
whore.
Me and Kevin had known Danny from Twitter. We never met her in person or anything like that. And these guys had asked me like, "Yo, do you want to go to?" I think it was Warped Tour. Like, you guys want to go to Warped Tour? I was like, well, I never met you guys, and I'm not gonna just get in a car with you and drive for like 2.5 hours.
Was this year?
It
No,
was
last-
16 or 17.
It wasn't this year.
Right.
Because, I mean, we've known each other for a while now.
I didn't
The
know
first
that.
time I met you was at my
Yeah,
house.
was at his house, and then because I was like, oh, it was like a week before Warped, and there was a party going on, and it was in like Santa Clarita,
Oh, Santa Clarita Party?
Yeah, it was like, no, it was like an LA party or something.
Sounds like mounds and mounds of cocaine.
I have stories to tell about Santa Clarita
No, so I was like,
parties.
I'll go to this party with you guys, and if you guys are cool, like, I'll buy warp tickets. And so, sure enough, like, I meet them, and it was like the Ninja Turtles meeting like the Power Rangers. You know that meme?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, because
Talking
like,
about you're talking about Avengers had the most ambitious crossover ever. Like, I'm talking about the Ninja Turtles and the Power Rangers, the Power
and so
Turtles.
me and Kendall had walked up, and then like we're walking into K-Tub's house, out Juana's driveway, and it's like him, Danny, and Joel. And I'm like, what's going on, Alfred, blah, blah, blah. And then Joel's like, hey, I'm Joel. And I was like, whoa, Jesus Christ.
I've heard you in every movie trailer
Yeah.
ever.
Wait, Joel's?
I was so shocked by his voice. Like, I
He's got, like,
expected
that,
something
that-
so
See, I
different.
was
You're listening to 95.8 Jazz.
Like,
And Joel's
I
like,
would- the panda. But like, I was way more thrown off by Josh's voice, his little brother.
Oh, yeah.
You
John
mean
Hall.
Allstate,
Yeah, the Allstate voice.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm being serious. Like, Joel has a deep voice, but like Josh has like the deepest voice I've ever heard. Next level type
You need to
shit.
get out.
What was I going to say?
So moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward.
Twitter
Yeah, we went
origins.
to the party and actually met like 5 more people there. Joe was there, I think, too. There was a
Which party did we go to? Was it the Orange County party, the OC party with Lauren?
Yeah, Lauren was there. That was the first night I met Lauren, too. I met Lauren, too.
Dang OC parties. I don't even
Yeah,
know
Lauren.
that.
Lauren's actually another friend we made through Twitter. She followed me from the Mermaid Man and Barnacle viral tweet.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
that's
how
like,
I
yeah,
met
yeah,
Lauren.
yeah.
I met Lauren through that tweet too. And
I know Lauren.
Lauren's from Florida.
I don't know.
So yeah, Lauren's a friend of ours. She lives in Florida, and for her birthday, she flew out to California to hang out with us.
Yeah.
And that was the same day that Alfred met us. He also met Lauren, and we went down
Yeah.
to Orange County, and we.
So that was
Went
your
to a
first
party.
time meeting Lauren?
It wasn't that day, but that trip because she was there for a few days.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, I see.
Mhm.
So she stayed there for like a week.
Yeah, from that tweet, I met a ton of people just from that tweet
That's cool.
blowing up.
Yeah.
And I made friends in like England that
Nice.
I talk to consistently.
Okay.
No, this guy
And-
like he's basically like throw a dart on a globe, and
Yeah.
I know someone that
Yeah.
we can
Yeah,
crash
basically.
with.
Yeah.
So-
I wish.
Knows a person in every 50 state.
Yeah.
Every state.
I'm basically your guys' Airbnb.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, you are.
Next topic.
So the few
No,
topics that I want to
stay
brush
involved.
about are Twitter mobs. We can decide what we want to talk about first. Twitter mobs
Can we talk about our Twitter mob?
going viral, and we could talk about trolling. And then the last one was, I didn't write that down.
Going viral. Well, you said going viral.
Oh, and 2012
and,
Twitter.
yeah, and
Yeah, 4 topics. What do you guys want to
and
talk about
all-time
first?
Twitter.
I'm sure we'll literally bounce off into like 40 subtopics.
Honestly, I think Twitter mobs and 2012 Twitter are going to seamlessly transition into each other because we're going to compare the two. I guess we'll start off with going
let's-
viral.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've already touched on it already.
Yeah.
So, what is it? Yeah, you've gone the most viral out
I was
of
gonna
all
say,
of
no,
us.
I've
So
never,
what does it
people
do?
hate me. I don't go viral.
What does it
people
take
look
to
at
go
my Twitter
viral?
And it's like, this guy has things to work out. But
He's got
ask
major
him, 'cause
issues.
he's gone viral like 9 times.
The first viral tweet I had was the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy tweet.
And you were still in high school at the time?
Yeah, for the people who don't know what the tweet was, basically me and my buddy Dalton dressed up on a Spirit Week day. It was superhero day. We had the idea that we were going to dress up like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, so we actually dressed up and we took pictures during break and we posted those pictures prior to the actual tweet. And those pictures got like 190 likes with a typo. And so we were like, dang, like people like the costumes.
Right.
And people at high school were like grabbing our butts and
It was
like-
original back then, too, because
it
I've
was-
seen a ton of it now.
Right.
People, well,
But-
Yeah.
I'll actually get into that. So we did it. The Spirit Week was in September or October, but it was near Halloween, and so we they were really focusing on costumes for this Spirit Week.
Okay.
So we took these pictures, and then we were like, it'd be hilarious is if after school we went in the parking lot to like an empty lot and took a picture like we were in the Invisible Bowmobile, and like.
A lifted invisible boat.
Yeah, we jumped way too high.
Them boys were hot.
But we jumped, and we tried it, and it took us 3 tries. That was it.
Nice.
It
Respect.
was the first one to kind of figure it out. The second one we were close, and then the third one and we got it, and it was just on.
Yeah, the one that's actually part of the, because there's 2 photos in the tweet, right?
Yeah.
You didn't even crop out the guy in the back. I was like, why is he?
Well, then did you see
he's
the
just
prom
standing
photo?
there? Yeah.
Well, that was Noah. That's our friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put him there on purpose.
Did you
so,
see the
like,
prom photo?
Well, I'll get
I haven't
to
seen
that.
that.
Yeah. So we We stood him in the background on purpose because he was watching and everything. And then so we took one like at a head-on angle and then one at like a side angle of us facing this way. And we were like, when you hear the conch signal, that was a tweet. And at the time, me and my friends were just outside in the front yard. My friend Tiffany had just sent me the pictures, and so I posted it up. And
how many people were there when you took the photo?
It was just a small group of us. It wasn't like that many, like 6, 7 maybe.
Right.
And
you guys thought it was funny as shit.
Oh, we were like, this is cool. I can't wait to post this. Right. So I get home. We're outside playing wiffle ball in my front yard, and I type it up and
still did that last week.
I type it up and I post
Joel
it.
still making up rules?
I typed it up and I posted it, and I just sat my phone down, and we went out and played for a couple hours, and we came back, and it had like hundreds of retweets, and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
crazy.
This is nuts.
Yeah.
And I just saw like a bunch of like, and it was mainly like local AV Twitter at that time. Right. People were just like talking about it and everything, and they're like, oh, this is Lancaster High School, like blah blah blah, and a lot of it were just like my friends being like, oh, this is gold, like I love this, like, and all this stuff, and then I was like, oh, this is like pretty cool, like I wanted to, and then like my friends and I started making bets like when it was gonna stop. We're like, oh, like you'll stop at like 700, like 800, like you won't hit 1,000, and then like by dinner it was at like 4 digits, 1,000, yeah, and it kept going, and I wasn't even like paying attention to anything. I'm eating dinner, like refreshing my phone because this is like crazy to me, and I went to sleep, and then by the time I woke up, it was at like a few thousand. And it just kept going. Like I went to school the next day. So
it was consistent.
It was consistent for like days.
Right.
And by the time it slowed down, it was like at like, I think like 11,000 retweets, and then it cooled off.
Slowed down.
And then Damn. Halloween came.
11,000.
And then people found the tweet again in Halloween, and they thought that it
I remember that. I remember when it went round 2. It blew up a second
it blew
time.
up in Halloween, and people thought that we did it as a Halloween costume thing. So then it gained like another like few thousand retweets, and then the big question kept popping up over and over and over again, and it was just, oh my god, how did you guys do this? How did you guys take this picture? We hear it every time, and so it eventually got annoying.
Did you actually jump?
Yeah, did you actually jump? I don't get it. Was it Photoshop? Like, and so we went from like constantly replying to people telling people that we jumped to trolling people and saying that, you know, figure it out, or it was strings, or
there was
smoke and
harnesses.
Mirrors. Yeah, harnesses. Like we went all out on it. It's Photoshop. Like I spent hours on this picture editing it, and so then, but like it kept going, and then it cooled off for like a long time, and then it blew up a third time the next Halloween.
Oh,
people thought it was a fresh tweet.
The first year it was in what, 2014, 15?
It was 2014, and then it blew up again.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was my junior year.
I have known you for a little while.
Yeah, and so it blew up. No, it was my senior year, because I graduated in 15. It was towards the beginning of my senior year, or middle point, and it blew up again after I graduated, because people thought I had posted it again, and. Rewind a little bit. The first Halloween where it blew up, like a few weeks after, people were sending me tweets of them dressed as Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, taking pictures, like jumping, and they were like, "Oh my God, you inspired our Halloween costumes!" Like blah blah blah. I had this girl from, I think, Liverpool, England, like taking a picture like out in the street, like jumping like this, and she's like, look, like it's like your thing and everything, and it's just it's wild to know that like somebody in England got out of their house and then copied what we did in Lancaster, California, because they saw it on the internet. And
the power of the internet, ladies and gentlemen.
It was wild, and so
lets you copy
everything.
everything.
The next Halloween, it blew up again, and people were getting on my ass because they were like, "Oh, you're so unoriginal. I saw this last year." And I was like, I was like, look at the date.
I made this. I was like, this was me.
I was like, this tweet is a year old. Like, who are you preaching to?
That was like when our friend had a tweet that recently went viral, and he was the one that like pioneered this. And there was
talking
like,
about Springer?
Yeah, and there was a bunch of copycat tweets that literally copy and paste. Shout out Springer, I love you. And like there was a bunch of copycat tweets, and people were coming at him and were saying, "Yo, like really, you're just gonna steal tweets? Like you're gonna steal
Other
tweets?"
Accounts were like picking it up.
Alarms. But like you're gonna steal tweets, and it was like he made the tweet.
This is my tweet.
But that's the thing, is like there's no I mean,
Did you see the
if you
girl
spend
that?
time,
Did
you
you see
could
the girl
check
that
it.
copied it and like a whole bunch of mass people just
We
ganged up
we
on her?
mobbed her. Oh,
Twitter
Yeah, it was
mobs.
Twitter.
Yeah.
It was terrible,
Twitter
bro.
mobs.
But
It was terrible.
so one of the highlights was eventually, like, I got so annoyed with the question of, oh, how'd you do it, that I changed my bio, and my bio ended up being, we fucking jumped, quit asking, it's not rocket science. And
your pinned tweet is still the tweet,
and
right?
my pinned tweet still matches with the bio.
Yeah.
And I remember like getting another surge of notifications, and it was because Mia Khalifa had gone on my Twitter, screenshotted
Ladies
my
and gentlemen,
profile.
we're
went,
talking about the Mia Khalifa. The one
screenshotted
and
my
only.
profile, went, this is hilarious, posted the screenshot at me in it, and then followed me. And I was like,
The rest is history.
and I was like, okay, so follow her back. And I was like, what the hell? And because I remember I didn't see her tweet
Slid in
initially
the DMs.
because all of my tweets I saw were, yo, Caleb, this is ridiculous. Oh my God, you lit, blah, blah, blah. And like, I was like, what's going on? And I saw that and I was like,
Nice.
Jesus. And so that got a lot of attention, and I remember seeing people ended up like people in the oncoming years like did the same exact thing, like they jumped up.
Yeah,
and they
I've seen a
posted the
bunch of
picture.
people reenact it since then.
And it's been like on and on and on, but like I noticed when it comes to like going viral, a lot of it is chance. Like a lot of it. It comes down to like whether or not people see your tweet at the right time and whether or not they think it's funny. Because there are some tweets that like I've put up or I've seen you guys put up that are like this is gold, and it gets
should
no
go
love,
and it doesn't,
and it gets no love. And then there are times where like someone just quotes something and they're like, fuck, and it's like 20K retweets, 50K.
Someone just code
favorites.
retweets it LMAO and it just goes.
Yeah, and it blows up.
So mean.
I remember there was my most viral tweet has over 100,000 likes on it, and
That one?
It was the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy one has like 40 something. That's like my third.
Right.
And
Oh, I know your most viral
my
one.
most viral one's so
Yeah.
stupid, right? So the movie It
That's
came
why I
out,
know
and
that
it
one.
was fantastic because of the actors in it. The boys, they were freaking hilarious.
There's
and so,
the Finn. It's Finn Wolfhard, the kid from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And then the one with the broken arm.
with the
in
cast,
movie.
yeah. And so I quoted a screenshot of them, and I was like, these guys are hilarious. I need an R-rated movie, 2 hours long of them just spewing shit at each other. 60,000 retweets, 100,000 favorites, like just mad. And I was like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, it
didn't
was
make any
also
sense.
just hot too. It just came out.
There was one time though where I was sitting in class, and basically, so I'm a huge fan of baseball. I love MLB. I don't watch just like one team, like just the Dodgers or just the Yankees. Like I watch like the entire league and I keep up with it. And
Here we go.
one of my favorite
been real.
one of my favorite
Alright.
teams
We're sorry.
posted up this thing, and they were like, if you can post this screenshot
Oh,
of
yeah,
this
the
picture
Rockies.
and you can get
Yeah,
3,333 retweets on it, then you'll get free tickets, you'll get like batting practice with the team, you'll get to meet everybody and autographs and all this stuff. And I was like, hell yeah, like I'm with it. Like I'll drive to Colorado right now to do this. And so I posted it up, and I'm trying to get people to retweet it. And I got to like 1,000, but it was a hard grind. Like I was asking people to retweet it, and it just wasn't going. And it's like, if the people like it, it goes, and if they don't, it doesn't. And this is like to prove the point even further is I sat there and I was like, how can I get more attention on my page? And so my brain was like, okay, just go viral again. That's the best way, because if you can click on the analytics of a tweet, when it came down to my Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy one, like millions of people saw it. And I got like tens of thousands of people who clicked on my profile just to look at me.
Yeah.
And I was like companies pay money for this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And so I was like,
that's
I was
why
like,
Twitter famous people
Get-
don't have like
yeah.
that's why
paid.
there's careers.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And so I was like, the best way to get like traffic into my page is just to go viral again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm literally just sitting in my math class that I cared nothing about, just staring into the distance, going, what's trendy right now and funny and something that's simple that I can get people to retweet. And so I go on Google Images, I find a picture of a woman leaning out of a McDonald's drive-through window.
Oh my!
And I
God.
tweeted-
I forgot about this one. You really do have so many. Like it's ridiculous.
And I
At
tweeted,
that time,
was
that
like-
was trending.
Yeah.
And I was like, roses are red, Obama is well spoken, I'm sorry, sir. And then just the picture of the McDonald's worker, because the trendy joke at the time was that McDonald's ice cream machines
was
are
broken.
always broken.
And there was
And so-
poems that went along with it.
Yeah, and then another thing was the trendy poems of the roses are red, blah, blah, blah. And then they had you fill in the other one. So it was like,
It was a terrible meme. Like looking back at
Yeah,
it,
it
like that
was-
really. No, not yours. I
No,
just mean the
just-
thing overall. I mean yours is
No,
one
but
of the
it was
best.
well
It's got,
thought out, too.
40,000
Thanks,
numbers. But like, well, I'm required to say that because we're live. But like, no, it's like.
Honestly, didn't mean
No,
it
but
was
the
well
whole joke
thought out.
in general, the whole like our ice cream machine, it's always broken.
I know, it's like
isn't
one
it
of
funny?
those-
Well, no,
It's
it
always
actually is
broken.
always broken.
Yeah,
No,
but
I
it's one of
know,
those
but-
things where it's like, oh my god, so relatable. That's why everyone gets a laugh. Kind of thing.
I
But
do
like,
that.
like one of the
And you just attached it to your
I do
Rockies
that.
tweet.
yeah,
You
and
just
it-
attached it right underneath it.
well, I didn't attach it right underneath it. I just tweeted it and I put my Rocky Suite underneath it so that people would see it once they saw my
Right,
viral.
right.
Bro,
tweet.
Twitter's a
literally-
game, and
but
you play it so.
I
Yeah.
literally
I've said
went
this
on
since day one.
I went on the internet. I got this picture of this lady. I posted the tweet, and as soon as I hit send, I DM'd it to my group chat of my friends at the time, and was like, "This shit's about to bang."
Yeah,
and-
you
and
did
I
call
called
it.
it.
Yeah, he did DM
and
me.
they were
He
like,
did DM me.
and they were like, all right, and so it just started going, and then I'm in class, and I told the girl that I was sitting next to her, I was like, I'm about to post a viral tweet, watch, and she's like, okay.
Bro, it's like I can just see Caleb in his math class, just like doodling on the book, like, "Hey, girl,
You want to see something?
hey,
You want to see some shit blow up?
hey, check Twitter." You just hear the little notification.
But I was like,
That's
watch,
me.
like it's gonna blow up. And
Here,
so by
hit
the
the
end
send
of the class,
Hey, you can hit tweet, baby.
so by the end of the class, it had like a couple hundred retweets already, and I was like, I got this shit, right?
Walking out feeling hot shit.
and so I put my tweet underneath it, and I was like, hey y'all, since you see this, like fucking help me out here. I'm trying to go to Colorado. And long story short, I ended up losing the competition because some MLB fan page with like tens of thousands of followers posted it and got it in like an hour.
Damn.
And I was like, that shouldn't even count. They're not even a person. But they.
I remember the story.
Yeah,
You
they
told
ended
me
up
this
giving
a
it to
lot.
him. And then my tweet ended up blowing up and getting more favorites than my Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy tweet did.
Nice.
And I was like kind of salty about it because
Yeah.
that was like my baby tweet. And then that happened. But then there were like other stupid ones that blew up here and there. Like I posted this vine of a bird that hit a window, and I was like me graduating high school and going into college. And like they let this baby bird go, and then it flew and it hit a window and just fell right away. Or there was another
I
one.
think I remember that one too.
There was another one where like this girl posted this like these messages of her and her boyfriend talking to each other, and they could not stop posting laughing emojis and heart emojis. It's back and forth, back and forth. And so I put I don't, and then emoji, 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 understand emoji, 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 your accent emoji, emoji, emoji. That got like a couple thousand too. But it's just like it's stupid stuff where you're like you kind of have to word it right, so it's like this is like so general and so basic
Right.
that everybody gets a laugh. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't. It's either something is so fucking stupid funny because it's so goddamn specific, or it's so damn general and relatable that everybody's gonna like it.
Right.
And I agree. And so I wanted bouncing off that, I want to talk about. So we just went through and kind of talked about what was like popular at that time.
No,
To
right
be
here. You
real?
should have hit it in front of the mic.
If I'm gonna be honest, this whole time I didn't know that there was water here, which is really clutch because I'm super thirsty.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about yes. You know inside baseball.
go on.
It's just
like
another meme.
60,000 retweets just from
Yeah.
this.
Oh, I know.
Just make it a
No,
gif.
that's what it would be too. But like, okay, so we talked about what was popular at the time with the whole ice cream machines broken, those
Right.
things like the Vine era. So right now, and you just said that you think that like to go viral, it has to be something that's like, what's it called? Super like generalized, where everyone can be like, I do this, like that kind of thing, or super detailed.
Yeah.
And so, but right now, I'm gonna be full blunt and honest with it. Like the stuff that goes viral on Twitter nowadays is just fucking bonkers. Like the shit that like.
What do you mean in
it's-
bonkers? What's
well,
your
like,
definition of bonkers?
okay, so right now I think a big wave on Twitter is like overly descriptive, horny Twitter, and it's
Yeah,
it
I've
is
seen- I've seen a lot of-
hilarious, and it is like what goes.
Coochie nectar.
Yes, like, and it's just like
Yeah, I'm getting
there's
tired
no
of
there's
those.
no
I'm
boundaries,
so
right?
tired of those
There's no boundaries,
No.
right? Okay. So I'm talking about tweets that's like my throbbing cock, like, and just that is
God damn it,
that's
Dylan.
going so viral right
And they're
now.
just like they're
And,
like you're out of this world horny.
Yeah.
right
yeah,
now.
I know, and like critical
you're out of
levels of
pocket,
horny,
yeah.
and so that's huge right now. And also, I think we've reached a new level of satire on Twitter. Like I'm talking like peak levels, and it's
Chainbody
great.
is the god of this Twitter.
Oh my god! Like, and I'm talking about like that guy like Critsko Blue or whatever with the with Pikachu as his.
That's
as his,
Chainbody.
That's him. That's
Yeah,
Chainbody.
yeah, that's Chainbody.
Oh my god, that guy's hilarious.
He's so
and like,
funny.
I'm talking about Bill Ratchet, Alex Tan or whatever.
Yeah,
like
Big Tan.
They're like, they used to be meme accounts. It was like, oh, here's the Dat Boy meme account or the freaking
Based Courage meme
the
account.
Based Courage.
Oh, yeah,
but
Based
now
Courage,
it's like.
yeah.
They all like have personalities, and these meme accounts are all friends.
So wait, is that
They
what
all
happened
play
to those
Xbox
accounts?
with
The
each
Base
other.
Courage turned into who?
No, Base Courage is
It's still there?
Base
Oh,
Courage has
okay.
been an
Yeah.
original memer kind of thing, but like there was the whole Twitter purge of all of the parody accounts where like Common Girl and,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Dory.
and Milk
Dory.
and all of those accounts
Thank God.
just got killed.
That
And
was like
I
I got wiped out.
wish that happened
Well-
in my time because I got robbed of so many
Yeah.
tweets. I actually got a tweet stolen by those accounts before the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy one, and it was this stupid messages that I texted myself for. I ended up having a conversation with myself because I was like, this will be funny. And I was like,
that twice a day.
it was so stupid. It was the general thing. And I was like, did you do your homework? And the person was like, nah. And I was like, well, I was going to copy off you. And they were like, well, I was going to copy off you. And that was literally the conversation with myself. Posted the screenshot of my own text messages, put it up, got a couple hundred retweets on it. And then parody accounts started getting it,
Picking it
running
up.
wild with it and getting thousands. And it's so stupid. Like, it's stupid stuff like that. You just get a little idea and you're like, this is general and dumb. And you think Twitter's going to like it, and Twitter does.
They eat that shit up, man.
I actually
They
didn't
eat
even
that shit up for
even
sure.
realize that they wiped out all those Dories and the Uncommon
Yeah,
Girl
they just
That
accounts.
had
happened
like a
earlier
crazy
this
purge.
year, right? Or was
It happened
last
when
year?
I wasn't on Twitter.
Did it
when I was
happen on
my-
the same
my
time that
break.
Instagram had wiped out like all their like bots and stuff like that?
I'm not too
Because they
sure.
were.
That's-
It's
that-
not that
'cause-
they were bots, but it's just that they were like literally stealing tweets.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but that's why what I was trying
And
to
they're
say
making
was
money off
that's
of
why I think Twitter
Those,
is
so
like,
those people are making money.
They made bank because
Right.
every now and then
Tons,
every now and then
yeah.
they tweet about like, oh, Target's having a sale on socks, but
Oh,
they'd make it
sponsored.
seem relatable.
Yeah.
And they would get paid mad money for it, and they were getting it off of people's tweets who were just sitting at
Right.
their house thinking
yeah,
something
and
was
like the
funny.
thing used to be these accounts used to just be meme accounts where they would just post pictures or stuff. But the difference is the reason why I said like we reach new levels of satire and like peak Twitter is now these accounts have personalities. They're not
Right.
like faceless like Common Girl or Dory, but they have personalities and they like put people on blast for being corny or like being
Yeah.
too
I know
generalizing
exactly which
or
tweet
like
you're talking
and
about,
so
too.
like they will put people on blast and be like, this ain't it. And it's like
This ain't
they
it.
got millions of followers, but it's like Twitter now is these big accounts that used to run Twitter are gone, and the new
Right.
accounts that run Twitter are like, you better check your shit.
They earned their
It's like-
spot. They actually earned their spot.
Oh,
and it's
100%,
much
like-
better. But then I guess this is a good transition for it. Like those accounts earn their spot, and they're a huge part of Twitter. But now a huge part of Twitter is the mob.
Yeah.
and it's
Like we
the
just
it's
retweet
the,
stuff because we're fake woke.
Yeah, it's the if I don't like what you have to say or I don't know any context on a situation, but somebody twisted it enough for me to get pissed off, I'm gonna dox you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you fired from your job. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
you removed
Yeah.
from whatever position you hold.
That's a whole thing that I can't believe. But the
did you
whole
send
like
that
here's,
video to
here's
him?
their personal
That's
number,
what I'm
here's
video?
their personal
Oh,
everything.
yeah. Like
ruined
here's where they
them.
work. Here's their home address,
Yeah.
their phone number,
And
their
it's like,
birth
here- this is the
certificate, and their
location
social
of their grandmother's
security.
grave.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah,
is
go-
where their
yeah.
dog's ashes are.
Yeah, go deface
like,
it,
Like,
Yeah.
go destroy it all.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
because of something you disagreed with, like everyone says stupid shit.
Well, like
in
a
their
lot of the
life,
people
like-
that they did for those people were those were the people that were like dogs and shit like that. Like it was some dude
No,
had
no, no,
threw like a
that
dog out
stuff-
the window, and they were like, he works here, he
Well,
lives
yeah,
here.
No, that 100%.
Yeah,
I agree
no,
with.
I
Throw
get
him
that.
off
yeah.
a bridge.
But no, that was the most of it, so I did appreciate that.
There's some
And
stuff
Nick-
where it's weirdly
I think
political.
that this
though.
one just shit. I don't know if it did or not. Nick's our camera guy.
But yeah, like,
Everybody say hi to Nick.
The equipment.
hey Nick.
There actually is a guy
We
backstage.
appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, man? I forgot y'all were there for a second. It was good.
They're having their good time. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
there's
stuff
so
like
much I
that
could
where
say
it's just
about
like
that.
just like little relatable thing, huh?
Right.
But like when it comes down to like the mob and everything,
Right.
like people on Twitter live in this bubble where they like champion people who do real life shitty stuff, but on this like isolated area of Twitter, it can be shown in the greatest of lights. It can be just like this great thing. For instance, when that kid was at, I think it was Whataburger or whatever, and he had a Make America Great Again hat,
Oh,
and
let's
this
please
stranger
talk about
this
this.
stranger came up to him and he grabbed his drink
Yeah.
and he chucked it in his face and then chucked it and then took his hat and was like,
Right.
"Fuck you, fuck Trump,"
And
then
he like
left.
threatened them.
And
he told them like,
yeah,
if you get up, like
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
beat your ass.
Yeah,
and stuff.
and
Like,
he
threatened
left
them.
the restaurant, and
no consequences.
And
the video went
everybody
viral
on
and
Twitter was
everybody
like, "This is a
championing
hero.
him."
We
Yeah.
stan him. Like this guy's fighting the good fight. Like all this stuff and everything."
That's
and then,
insane
but then,
to me.
But
Yeah,
then
no,
he
I
got
totally get
arrested.
it.
No, yeah.
He ended up getting arrested for that. And it's
Really?
like people have this idea that like, oh, this guy's a hero on the internet.
Right.
But then you go away from your screen. He committed a crime. He attacked the
Right.
minor.
Yeah.
Like this dude's an asshole.
No,
like
and
you
that-
don't like his hat. Walk
exactly.
away. Like don't be a pussy about
Yeah.
it.
Did you see the one where, like, I know you saw it because you quote retweeted it, the one that you thought it was in Palmdale where the guy was on the corner with the flag, with the Trump
That was
flag?
I was gonna bring that up too.
I don't know.
No, it is Palmdale.
It is
I'm pretty
Palmdale.
sure it was
It's
Palmdale.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
It is.
And so it's just like that. He got bullied and he was getting, like, low-key champion, and we just, like, laughed at it.
No,
but,
and
like...
I was gonna bring up the same thing if you didn't, Alfred. Like literally, I was gonna bring up that video because
Yeah.
it goes perfectly with that video of the Whataburger. Whataburger. I just still don't know how to pronounce it. And I lived there, but like, no, it's the same thing. Like that dude got out of his car and like. Okay, let's be real. Regardless of put all the political like bullshit to the side, the guy was there, and in America, you have the right to stand on the side of a street and wave a flag if you want to. So he wasn't. Like I know, but like he's
That is called set tripping in the hood.
like oh no
That's
no no.
called Courts Hill.
No, I know. Granted, where he was doing it was
The wrong place to
You're-
do it.
you're a
And like,
fucking
and
idiot.
honestly, like,
But-
if we're being real, like, when you look at someone like that, knowing where you're at and knowing what you're representing, you're asking for trouble.
Oh, 100%.
Like the kid in the Whataburger's minding his own business. That dude is waiting for a reaction.
Yeah,
He's out there.
The only
instigating.
reason why I
Instigating.
challenged that is
Yeah.
because of the way when the guy got out of his car and was like get the fuck out of here, like I'm a beat fuck.
He's
He was
like-
he took his flag and he
Alright,
started holding it.
he didn't say anything, and you could literally see he
scared.
was scared,
Yeah,
and like
he
he
was
walked
scared.
away.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, listen, you're an idiot for doing what you're doing where you're doing it because, like you said, you're asking for it. But I don't genuinely believe he did it to get a rise because when he saw that reaction from the person,
Yeah,
he
that's not what he
instantly
wanted.
was like I don't. He wasn't there for trouble.
But he was probably looking for people to honk and be like, yeah, Trump train, like, blah,
But
blah.
Well,
I
he
still
also
bet
didn't
people
think
who
he
do
was
that
going to
in the
make
first
2,000
place, though.
impressions on Twitter either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
And I guarantee you, it'll blow more up. Like,
Well,
it'll-
that's what I'm
and they'll
saying.
champion
It already
that,
had
too.
like how many, like at least triple-digit likes. So that means there was over 4-digit impressions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like there was another one that like got my blood boiling because like I'm pretty centrist when it comes to politics, so it's nice to be able to criticize like the left and the right on their stupid bullshit. But there was one that just got me so pissed off, and it was like just this old white dude who was stopped at a light. And these people came up to him, and they were like, "Oh, he a Trump supporter. He a Trump supporter." They pulled this guy out of his car and started beating his ass
I
in
think
the
I saw
middle of
this
the
one.
intersection. And this is an old man. Like this isn't some like healthy young dude who can defend himself. These are young people beating the shit out of an old defenseless guy. And it was like at that point, it's like you fucking suck.
Did he have a
you
Trump
have
sticker or
nothing going
something?
for you. He might have had a bumper sticker or a hat or something. But it's like this is an old man. You could kill him.
I don't know. That's pretty
Right, yeah.
indefensible.
Like
Can you imagine accidentally killing him and then you're facing
yeah,
like you're facing
you're
a case
faced with
after
manslaughter
that?
because you beat someone's
Yeah.
ass over a political opinion.
And that was
like
like-
it might like what if it wasn't even his car? Like what if it was his son's car? He's totally a Hillary supporter, and you're just beating his ass, and he's like, I'm not, and they're
It's
just
like,
knocking his teeth in before he
I'm
can
just
even say
borrowing
anything.
the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, like, and it's that mob mentality of it's
oh,
just
yeah.
like they see the person and they're like, we want to virtually lynch this person. Like we just want to all go to him and just dox him, kill him, like get rid of him, like make sure he leaves the internet, never comes back.
That's what California's all about.
Yeah.
It's
That's
what
what
we
Los
represent.
Angeles
We're
County
in and out,
represents.
waves and liberal mob parties.
Like, I don't think we provided enough context either because some people watching will know, but
Yeah.
what we were talking about with the dude in the flag is there was a guy on the side of a street in Eastside Palmdale,
Our
which is
hometown.
like it's kind of not the best area.
Speak for yourself.
And like he was waving a Trump flag on the side of the road, and this dude parked a car and got out of the car and was like, "Yo, like get the fuck out of here! Like I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't leave or whatever." Right. And the guy didn't say anything and like bundled up the flag and then just walked away. And so that's what we're
the
talking
clip
about.
ends. It's very subtle.
Yeah, it's super subtle,
yeah.
but I realized we like went off about that, and I was like,
Well, we all laughed it off.
yeah, and
but
I was like, but
it's so
people
fucked-
may not
yeah.
even know what the hell we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
But and what you were saying was the whole championing or whatever that thing.
Yeah,
like well. People are like supporting and like standing. I hate using that,
hate
but
that
like
word. I hate
people
people
are
who use the
supporting.
word.
Dan
and
Twitter, do you
standing,
know
like,
this song?
But they're like championing. Sure, how do you say that? Championing. Okay, they're doing that.
They're praising.
Thank you. There's a syllable. I was looking for a synonym.
It's an
whatever.
adject.
Yeah,
Synonym.
a synonym.
synonym.
I love
Sorry,
synonym
I'm-
toast crunch.
Damn it. Okay. Anyways, cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Okay. So people are praising type of behavior that they would never do in real life.
Yeah, and if they do, they're a shitty person for doing it.
And that's why on the phone they're literally like bundled up in their bed, like just looking at this like, like get his ass.
Yeah,
well, because it takes me like 0.3 of a second to think that,
rather
and
than
tweet
actually
it.
acting something out.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there is, like with everything, there's extremes. The things that we see on Twitter are the extremes. I think a lot of the tweets we see are people's thoughts.
Yeah, but they're not
manifested.
their actions.
Right. Yeah, it's not their actions, but like, because people wouldn't do half the shit they say on Twitter. Let's just be honest. But like, that whole Twitter mob thing of just going back to the defenseless kid and everything, who like, again, regardless of what you think, the kid's just trying to eat a meal, and then goes up and like he feels threatened and everything.
Yeah,
and
was threatened.
No,
Literally,
100%, and gets his drink thrown in his face, and you have people on Twitter legitimately saying, "You're a pussy for not doing anything. Like you're just a bitch."
Oh yeah,
like,
they called the kid a pussy.
They called the kid a bitch
him.
they were like,
this
"You're
dude's
a bitch."
grown-ass man.
And it's like this, in that scenario, extremely threatening, threatening. And so especially being caught off guard, I would never have done anything. Like that would have scared the shit out of me.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, and then
because he was with a friend, wasn't he?
I think he was with a group.
Yeah,
it was
and
like 4 or 5
that's
kids.
the tweets that I read. They were like, he was with a group of people, and it was one guy, and I was like, that doesn't mean anything. They're eating their meal, and they're caught off guard.
And there was another one, like another thing, like adding to the stupid mob mentality. I remember somebody posted this tweet, and I can't remember the information specifically, but they were like, but it doesn't really matter in this context. They were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this happened. This is outrageous. Like I can't believe." Oh, it was like I can't believe like it had to do with the immigration policies and how like they're separating kids from their families. And there was this picture of this kid in a cage, and they were like, "I can't like look at this. This is awful. I can't believe this is happening. This is how children are being treated." And it had like 100,000 favorites and like 50,000 retweets and blah blah blah. And then underneath that exact tweet, like literally you can attach tweets underneath it. It said like, "Oh, I found out this wasn't actually immigration. This was a daycare," and it got like 100 retweets. So like hundreds of thousands of people
like
are over
going
here
on.
outraged about something that was fake, and then when they told the people like, "Oh, my bad, this wasn't actually true. This was misinformation," they're like, "I don't give a shit."
People want to push a narrative, and when information comes out that doesn't support that narrative, they will shun it away.
Yeah, they won't give it any attention. They don't actually go for truth. They go for, this is what I feel like the world should be, and so I'm going to look for everything.
And a lot of
I
people
can
don't
to
realize,
add
too,
on
like,
that.
if we didn't do anything about immigration, you could, I remember you had said a quote one time, you were like, you could literally overthrow a government without, like, picking up a gun.
Yeah, because
Like,
that's the whole point
if
of
you give
immigration
them,
policy is
you have those people here and they get the same, like, rights you do, like, what makes you different from them?
yeah,
like,
and like the whole, because a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, like I don't get why we have to limit the amount of people that immigrate. Why can't we just have open borders?
well, there's a roof. There's a roof every year,
and
we hit it every year.
Oh yeah, as some countries do, some countries don't.
Yeah,
like, that's
I think
why
there's
people
only
from
like
Belgium,
less than 5 hit the roof though.
Yeah, like people from like I think it's like Mexico and China are one of the two that like, or a couple of them that like
Does that
hit it
raise
every time.
year?
No, it stays the same.
it's the same number.
But like
But it
for
just
instance,
resets?
Yeah,
like
of
people
how many
who-
people are allowed to have their card or their visa or whatever.
Yeah, because people from like
and at the beginning of the year, it resets every year.
yeah, you get a
but
new
once
amount
they
that you
hit
can
that,
give out.
they could hit that roof in June, and all these people that like applied after that,
They're put on a
That's why
waiting
in some
list.
cases it takes years.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, but that's the thing, because people get pissed off because they're like, oh, like, you know, my family immigrated from Belgium and they got their citizenship within a couple years. Like, this is BS because my uncle's been waiting like 19 years and he still hasn't gotten his.
Well,
they
I went to kindergarten whose like parents, they waited, like I graduated college and then they got theirs. Like
Yeah,
I
and
remember in kindergarten, like they were applying.
one of my
nuts,
family members who got married in just got his citizenship like this year, and he has been waiting since he was a teenager. And it's because they're coming from Mexico. And like, for instance, Belgium does not have an influx of people coming here. The majority of countries, people who are immigrating to USA are people who are not happy with where they're living. Mm-hmm. And so when you come to a place with more opportunity and more room to grow and a better society, then you have people who want to go there really badly. But people in Belgium love where they live. And so they're not going to come racing over to USA, especially when we have like crazy politics going on right now. They're gonna chill there. But if someone has family here and they want to move here, they can get citizenship really quickly because they don't hit their cap every year. Mm-hmm. And so what people don't understand about the whole you can't do open borders thing is we're a what is it called? We're democracy. We have
Yeah,
people
I was like,
who,
don't look at me because I have no idea.
like it's like a
You're the
representative
dictionary
republic
guy.
or something like that. But it's what it comes down to is the people vote in who they want to run the country. And if we're just like, we're going to take in whoever, that means we could literally have people come into our country and then vote out the people who are who are representing us and vote in people who represent them, and they completely have control over all the laws that are passed and everything that goes in our country without ever picking up a gun. And so like if like and it's in its extreme, but it's serious, and it could seriously shift like the paradigm of our entire political spectrum. And like say like for instance Russia wanted to get into the political system in America, they would just have their like a huge population of people immigrate over here, and then have kids, wait for them to grow up, vote in Russians, and they could totally like control the White House. Like and it's one of those things where it's like people are like, oh, but who would go to that? People are like, who would go to that extent? But like people legit would do that. Like it's not a big thing. And so you need to, and then on top of that, you need to pay attention to who's coming to your country. Like you can't just think like, oh, the outside world is fine and dandy, and like everybody out there is gonna come here and then like conform. Everyone's gonna come in and what's the word for it? You immigrate and then it's there's a word for when you come to a country and you start adopting their culture and you start adopting their laws.
Adapt?
You're a culture vulture.
Yeah, like you start adapting to whatever country that you're in. So you start speaking their language and you start doing their like following their like holidays or their culture basically.
I know what you mean. I don't know a word.
I can't think of the word, and I'm gonna remember it when we're done. But
like so, all the things you're saying right now, people.
On Twitter,
don't think like
they don't
that.
They don't get
so,
it. They
like,
don't take
to bring it
time
full
to
circle.
look at
Like people on Twitter don't think like that. And so, but also to be fair, again, I truthfully believe that any sane person can sit down and be open to a conversation, or can or does think like that on Twitter. I think a lot of what we see on Twitter are both of the extremes. The extreme, like, I do not care about your feelings, like, listen to this and cry. Yeah. And, like, the extreme of, like...
care about all of my feelings.
Exactly, like, care about everything, and here's your home address, I know which room you sleep in, like, I'm going to stare at you while you sleep tonight. Like, so, I think there's both sides of it, which is, I think... I don't know if you want to touch more on this, but that kind of goes to the whole... old Twitter versus new Twitter, because I joined Twitter back in the end of 2011, the beginning of 2012, I think.
That's around when I joined too. 2012.
It's on all of our bios. It says when we joined. I think it was 2012, and because I would think I was a freshman in high school when I joined, and I remember back then. Dear God, Twitter was
a terrible place.
Oh, Twitter was an awesome place. Oh, I joined in 2011.
Okay, so you were like before me, but Twitter's always been an awful place, but for different reasons. But like back then,
it was cool back then.
Back then it was super cool. But what I mean is like back then it was like, boy, I'm finna roast your ass for anything.
It was really like if you post a selfie that kind of looks weird, you are going viral because people are going to make fun of how you look.
Boy, you got a freckle that don't look like that don't look right.
Yeah, people would just be like, come roast their ass, and people would just come in on
your shirt's wrinkled, you ugly.
And it wasn't just like just the people you know; it was anybody from around the world, because it's like I don't know about you guys, but like I only knew like a handful of people from like my high school at the time that like actually had a Twitter. Majority of my followers were from like different states and like from like I didn't know where they were from.
Because back then the Twitter community was small compared to how it is now. So like back then, if you were to go viral, you were to get like 2,000, 3,000 retweets, and that was huge. Yeah, that was a lot.
I remember those.
And that was like, holy shit, you hit 4 digits. Like that's huge. And I remember one time seeing one that hit like 10K, and that was the first time I'd ever seen it because I had no idea they got rid of the zeros and they just put a K.
Oh, they just put 10K.
I was like, what?
You're
like that's what I saw. Back then, I remember I personally, I don't know if everyone did, but me and my friend group in high school, back then we were obsessed with getting our tweet count up. Like tweeting a lot.
That was like
you would dedicate like your 10,000th tweet to somebody.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like so to us, a big thing was the number of tweets, and it was like, okay, this is my 500th tweet, like 550th tweet or whatever. And so I remember me and my friend Nolan, he stayed the night at my place one night. Name? Foster. And so he's up in Idaho right now doing lineman stuff. So if he ever watches this, shout out, baby, I miss you. Nolan? But like, so he stayed the night one time during high school, and me and him literally were so bored one night. We were like, let's see who can tweet the most. Let's try and get in Twitter jail.
Yeah, like, you get in Twitter jail,
in Twitter jail. And I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but
no, it's not. So you can just like tweet as much as you want. But the thing was, you would be like, what's even worse is like you're like tuning in, like, and the timeline's starting to pop off. And then it's like you hit that mark where it's like, oh, now you're in Twitter jail because you hit like the count, whatever the count. I don't know.
Like 1,000
and then you'd be like,
fuck,
the fucking timeline's popping off. And so you DM all your homies. You'd be like, I see what's going on
and
right
you're like,
now.
start a hashtag, put free, like, Wade Gretzky.
I
They're
remember
like,
that.
And then
And
like,
that's
and
where the
like,
whole free thing started because
Yeah.
of Twitter jail. So it'd be like free K-Tub or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's in Twitter jail. And like that's what I was talking about when you brought up the whole K thing. Ooh, excuse me. I remember when tweets would go from 9,999 and then it would be like, oh, this person Rachel has 10K tweets, and I'd be like, dude, this bitch be tweeting.
Yeah, this
Like,
person's like
this is-
popping off.
she's tweeting.
I remember like it was so cool because back then when something like popped off, like the whole community got involved. It wasn't just people quoting it and being like, ha ha ha, this is funny. Like everybody wanted to come up with their own variation of it, and the one that stuck with me the most was like all these blanks but you still blank.
Yeah.
And so it'd be like
yeah.
all these boomerangs but you never came back to me. Like
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
I remember
or
those.
like
I
yeah,
remember
like
those very well, actually.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah, I
and
remember.
everybody had
Damn.
their own. Everybody had
I've
their
done it
own
like 5
type.
times, bro.
Like everybody had
There's
their own
spit all
tweet,
over this
and
table.
like people were like being like, "Oh, this shit's funny. Oh, this shit's funny." And like if you like posted your own, and you just got like 25 retweets from like your own local
You're like,
Twitter, it was a success. It was
Yeah.
like yes,
Yeah.
like people like it and everything. And then the occasional person would get out to the viral Twitter, and they'd get like a couple hundred, and it was like, damn. But nowadays, you can literally quote something and be like, "This is so me," and then it'll get 100,000
Yeah.
retweets,
It'll go,
and it's just like
I
that's
do
insane.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Did you
I
guys
do
ever
that.
deactivate or delete your Twitter at any point? Because I actually had one. I had one in 2012, and then I deleted it in 2014 because I was trying to fix what I thought was a good relationship at the time. And then
What is-
so like you know how you had 30 days to
Ayo,
reactivate your
that's what I was
account.
trying-
Ayo, you had 30 days to
Ayo.
reactivate your account. And I fucking
Clock's
missed it. I missed it by like 2 days. I was like, everything gone.
Dude,
I was
is that still
I
the
was
rule?
devastated. So I didn't go back to Twitter until
have
like
no idea.
recently.
Because I
A 30-day
deactivate-
rule?
okay,
I
so-
don't know.
Okay, first off, this might be kind of fun, so I want to know this too because I'm curious. I'll tell you guys mine first. So I could tell you all the @names I've ever had on Twitter, and they are.
I'll start off with mine, K-Tub. That was it.
And so okay, so my @name right now is TripMac. I don't know why we should have started that at the first
With the
place,
V.
but like yeah, so it's TripMac, but
It
the
replaces
A
the
is
A.
a V because it's an upside down A, and this guy named Trip McKinley, he's a church dad. He has the TripMac handle.
It's
Anyways,
a really cool name.
yeah, and so
Trip McKinley.
But it is, huh? It's actually pretty cool. I've never said it out loud before, but I hate him because he has the handle. But like,
DM
so,
him and ask him for it.
no, I'm actually emailing Twitter right now to try and because he hasn't tweeted in like 2 years. So I'm emailing Twitter to see if
pass
like
that this way.
because it's like a business handle for the channel and stuff. I want to be like, hey, I need this. But anyways, so right now @TripMac TRIPMVC, follow me. I'm sure we'll all do the ads. But like, okay, so when I first started Twitter, my very first @name, I kid you not, dude, and you guys are gonna get on my head so fucking hard for this. Like,
Yes, yes, we will.
if you knew me when my @name was this, then you're real, and I appreciate and love you. When I
You had
started
10
Twitter,
followers.
my @name was SoCal Hipster.
I remember that.
Oh my! Could you imagine someone nowadays with the @name SoCal Hipster, bro?
All they would
Like,
have to
that
do
shit's
was-
so.
That's how we knew
Nick, I
you.
swear to God, don't give me the fucking
Nick's out of
thumbs
frame
down.
going. Yeah.
I swear to God.
But like someone would literally like.
That's how we
don't-
knew you came
it was
from.
a
That's how we
beautiful
knew you
back
came
then.
from
It was a
Texas.
great-
Well,
@name.
that's how you knew you were old school Twitter because you wouldn't get roasted by that for old school Twitter. But like
Exactly.
nowadays, you could literally say any opinion ever, and then someone would be like, "Okay, SoCal hipster," and they would go viral because of how ridiculous your @name is.
Mhm. And so it was SoCal Hipster, and then
Or your profile pic, they'll get on that too.
Yeah, no, that's
Words,
true.
yeah.
And so it was, and this is back when the Avies, whatever, were squares, and like way back
It's
in the
the
day.
egg.
But yeah, it was SoCal Hipster, and then I got bullied really hard and got Twitter mobbed back then, and I ended
really?
up changing my And
I got a story about a Twitter mod.
Oh, bro. So I got this too. I could go on that. So basically, like, you know how it is. I mean, this is back in I think like 2013, and I was being called like all this different stuff. Like literally, I remember people telling me to kill myself and like all this stuff.
Did you do
I mean,
it?
It's bro.
I mean,
So
It's kind of a cliffhanger.
so I had an extra life,
tune in next week.
but yeah, tune in next week.
Tune in next tweet.
And so I remember watching that, and I was like, none of it got to me because like Tyler the Creator, like, what the fuck even is cyberbullying? Like, close the
Just walk away from your screen.
Just close your laptop. Damn, like,
Yeah.
just
lock your phone.
I was more so just annoyed because I was like, okay, by the 90th person telling me to kill myself, like, this is just getting annoying. So
Right.
like. so I changed my and I went from SoCal Hipster, and then my for like the next week was like Daydreamer 07. Did you want more bullying? Bro,
I want all the women to know out there that there are good guys, and we just don't get treated right. I want to let you know
that I'm one of them.
Who want to cry too.
I can break down these walls.
There are daydreamers.
Okay, so let me explain.
Hold on, that chick we were talking about earlier when we were talking about that stole Springer's tweet. Yeah. She actually ended up changing her @name. I don't know if you guys noticed. Yeah. She changed her profile pic. She changed her @name. It was terrible.
And so I'm not done. So listen to this. So I changed it to Daydreamer 07, right? It was like I sound like Daydreamer 07 sounds like some like I don't know, soccer mom or some like single 40-year-old mom that's just like trying to get back in the dating scene.
You used a generator to come up with it.
Yeah, and so my @name I changed it to Daydreamer 07. I shit you not. That like
they found me.
Yes. 4 hours later that night, I get a mention on Twitter and it says, "Oh, you thought you could change your huh? You thought you could get away that easy, couldn't you?" And I was like, "They really thought you're slick. Like you really thought you're slick, huh?" And I'm sitting there like I got sophomore year in the morning, and I'm like, I can't. What am I gonna do? And it's the same girl, and she's like, "Nuh-uh, you still need to kill yourself."
You thought that I forgot?
You thought I was gonna let you off the hook? I'm not leaving until I know you're gone. And so I was like, "Dear God, lady, leave me alone." And I changed it to Daydreamer 08. And I had friends I had friends in there that were like it got, bro, Twitter was ugly back then. So this girl's telling me to kill myself, and I have friends from high school just coming at this woman, bro. Like, I mean, bad. Like, coming at, like, weight, looks, like, everything. Because you're coming at someone telling them to kill themselves 90 times.
Oh, yeah. If someone disrespects you, you make fun of what they look like.
No, exactly. Bro, I'm telling you, my friends were going in to the point where I was like, you know what? I'd be telling these kids to kill themselves, too. Like, this is a bit fucked up. But, like, so then it went from Daydreamer, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going down this memory lane. Okay, so we're from Daydreamer, and then eventually I changed it automatically to my other @name, and this was my @name for I want to say sophomore, junior year too, and my @name was the hooligan, and just the hooligan. And I don't remember why, I don't have any cool story about it, but then that was the one where I was like, okay, that people relaxed on me. Like, the hooligan's fine.
I don't get how that one slipped by. They were like SoCal Hipster? Nah. Daydreamer 07? Nah. Hooligan? Is that a 0 instead of an O? You're cool.
Yeah.
We'll let it slide.
So hooligan was fine, but then I remember I changed it because right when I was like actually getting a following on Twitter and stuff, I was working at Zoomies, and the stupid, I don't know, I'm sorry if you like this brand, but the brand Hoonigan from Ken Block got really big. I hate it. I hate everything like the people who just like wear it and slap their like straight pipe Civics with Hoonigan, and they're like, and like, but so I changed it because
actually,
that got
I don't want to get
popular.
mobbed on by that group, so I didn't say anything about it.
I know, we stand Civics.
No, you can mob me all you want. You guys know what you're doing is wrong.
That Lexus looks like shit, and you know it.
Let's be
Take
real
the
for
spoiler and Airstream off
Let's
of
be real
it.
for a second. Your Civic didn't drive off the lot sounding like that. Okay, so I changed it, and then I messed up again, and I changed it to something that I rolled with at the time. Okay. So I know you were around Twitter for this era. There was an era on Twitter where everyone changed their @names to whatever their name was something my name, and it had the same first letter. So it was like I can't remember like I don't know, Codeine Cody, like that was the @name or whatever. And then it was like Big Bryce or like
so like
something or like
with the play on the first letter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like an
like @Pizza Presley, something like that, where it was like that. So I changed mine to. Or it was like the
Dunkin' Dylan.
Was it delicious, Dylan?
No. So I went through. I blasted through 3 like in a week, and it started with. I know I almost
Stick on brick, Dylan.
No, but so I wanted to be different, so I didn't do that. So I
different,
did.
Dylan?
So I did different Dylan. No, so I did @Delusion, but Delusion DYL.
She's like, oh no, you gotta kill.
If I do again, you thought we were gonna let you slide with this one?
Hooligan was cool.
You're still living.
Is that a pulse I hear?
Then I went from delusion to, and I'm sorry for the kids at home. I went to Diller Light. I was Diller Light because people were doing
asking for it.
Yeah.
and people were doing alcohol and stuff. And so it was supposed to be Miller
People
Lite,
were
bro.
doing alcohol.
But they were doing alcohol.
I have no idea what they do with it, but they do it, and they do it a lot.
They're doing it.
Mom, kids are doing alcohol. No, but
Come pick me up.
No, what I meant was kids were like putting alcohol in their at names, like some alcoholic drink,
Gotcha.
and with their first name.
Okay.
So I did Diller Light. I've never fucking drinking Miller Lite. To this day, I don't think I've ever had a cold can of Miller Lite. But like,
Only warm ones.
I actually rolled with that for a while, enough to where like I had that for way longer than I should have had. But like then I went to, and this is the most recent one. Before where I am now, my at name was Dilutive, and you remember it was at Dilutive for a while, and fucking edgelord. But like, so people always ask me like, what does it mean? It was DYLUTIVE, Dilutive, and if you actually Google dilutive but with DIL instead of DY, it's that's why it's a word. I change it when something is like dilutive or whatever. It means like dead inside.
Oh my god!
It means like
After that girl mobbed me back in 2012.
I just want to let you know
dead.
you won.
it means when something's like diluted
Check,
in the
mate.
first place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a synonym to that, but in the sense of like when something is like dilutive or whatever, it just means that like I forget. I might be like butchering it, but it's something along those lines. Oh, I keep on hitting this cord. But yeah, and then I changed it to Trip Mac because I started my YouTube channel and I started kind of like an online following, and it will forever be Trip Mac now because that people can't make fun of me. They do,
Yeah.
but it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, no.
But
As
it's
it
Trip
shouldn't.
Mac.
Yeah. It took me a while to come up with like the Wave Gretzky. I don't know if you've seen it, but actually Kevin had that name before I did, and he had it WAVE, I think, Wave Gretzky.
I read it as Wav
And then
at first.
yeah, everybody keeps saying,
Wav.
"What is Wav Gretzky?" I'm
Yeah.
like,
Wave.
and so me, Kendall, and Bibbs were doing Wave Break for a while. I don't know if you remember that. So we just kept playing off the word wave,
What's
just
Wave
like this,
Break?
just like this podcast right here. It was just something like every single week we were just releasing a playlist because it's like all the playlists on Apple Music. It was just all the stuff that was just like the radio hits, and like if it was getting like the numbers, it was getting like exposure. So basically, like we're really just like underwhelmed, and so like we just started going through, and every week we would switch off. So like one week I would make one, the next week Vivian would make one, and the next week Kendall would make one, and so we just kept cycling that for a while. And it started to get like people would like pick up our playlists and stuff like that because like you could see when people download it from your Apple Music. And so like I know like you had downloaded a couple.
Yeah,
You were checking them
I
out.
had a couple.
Yeah.
You put this uncultured white boy onto DGK, or not DGK? What is it?
UGK.
DGK? I was
DGK.
like Dirty
Yeah,
Ghetto
no,
Kids?
DGK. I always mix those
Lord,
up. We
please.
Oh, we're talking
tell me
about,
you weren't
uh,
repping DGK.
fucking heard me.
Are we talking about the international players?
Hey, he wearing DGK.
Yeah.
But yeah, DGK, UGK. Yeah, it's still not cultured, by the way. Nah.
Or Success Plus or whatever. And I'm walking into my house, and my grandma's scrolling through Facebook and
yeah.
texting and
Yeah, yeah.
FaceTiming and all this
Same-
stuff.
80
same
years
thing
old.
with mine.
And I'm like, that's so weird to me. And even like, my mom is figuring things out. I mean, not even more so. I just mean like, my mom isn't hitting me with as much questions on how to do things because I've kind of taught my mom like, hey, problem solve, like the way that you were taught. Like,
Hey,
it's-
troubleshoot.
No, troubleshooting is like a real thing that people don't do.
No, yeah, and
Yeah.
and my mom is starting to pick that up, and I'm
Right.
like, and I'm like, which is why my mom is getting jobs. My mom's like 60 years old, and she's getting jobs right now where it's all computer based work, and I'm like,
That's cool.
I'm like, because she originally went to school for computers, and she's kept up with it her whole life, and so I'm like, you have kind of chosen the right. Like career
Yeah, you're
decision
going-
because
you're
you're
going
going
with
with the
it.
future of everything. But I agree. I think that the
Was
reason
it a
why
hard time for her to like navigate onto it? Like, was she frustrated at first? Like, because I know my mom, like, I would try and show her things. She'd be like, "All right, I'm over. Like, just do it." And then same.
Yeah, no, 100%. I've gotten that.
Okay.
It's more so my dad. And if I make old jokes with my dad, and my dad's very young, but not very young, but younger. Like my dad's, I think he's whatever. I don't even remember.
I don't want to say it now that I realize how old he is.
No. I think my dad's,
I actually
my dad's
don't
only
know.
like 45 or whatever. So like they're like my parents have a difference in age there, but my dad is like super sensitive with the whole like
Old jokes.
Yeah, when I'll hit him with like but the button here was the one over here at one point.
phone only have one button on it? Can I do one thing?
I'm like, oh yeah, and my dad's usually with most things. Like my dad could literally tear a whole car apart and put it back together. Yeah. My dad is a genius.
But he can't tear an app folder apart and put it back together.
No, but my dad will be like, I never called this person. You might have butt dialed
They
them.
called you.
He's like, I don't recognize this number, and I'm like, you, Dad. Like, but
the best part
like,
is when it's like they're getting a phone call and they're just trying to answer it. They're like,
no.
Okay. Well, one thing I want to bring up that I noticed is like, all right. So you know how like as an example, we've gone through our like middle school phases, but at the same time, and in our awkward phases, but we've also gone through our awkward phases with the internet as well. Like if everything you ever posted was still up, and
honestly,
you had a timeline, and you would go back to it, you would find the most awkward shit ever. Just
you
like
find the
scrolling
most
through,
terrible
like,
filters,
Instagram.
to be honest.
Yeah, my
I
was
respect.
so hipster. I had awkward
There's
shit
very
on
few
there.
people that I still see that actually
that
have
up.
their content from like 2012.
I have some of mine, not all of mine. I have some of mine.
Because
But,
they
like,
have the shitty filters on it, like
But
the
what,
whole
like the
black
stuff that looks like it went
frame
through a
or-
toaster.
Yeah.
And so like one of the things I'm bringing it up for is because I feel like that
so
phase
cringy.
that phase of the cringy internet is what our parents are going through right now.
Yeah.
Once they found social media, like my mom will literally walk up to me and she'll be like, "Oh, this meme is so funny," and she'll show it to me, and it'll be like one of those like old like OMG LOL memes with like the face or like the Forever Alone potato head.
Yeah.
And it's like stuff with like the big bold white lettering and everything, and it's like
And it's super
like,
pixelated,
it's
it's
like,
been screenshot
why you
multiple
know do
times.
this thing, and I was like, this is hilarious. I'm like, I would have laughed at that 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like
No,
you are
that's
so
during
late.
like the iFunny days. Remember
Yeah.
iFunny?
And
That
like
app?
they'll post pictures of like just quotes, and they'll put a filter on the text of the quote.
Yeah. It just
keeps getting
So
baked
unnecessary.
every time it
yeah,
gets
it's getting baked, and I'm seeing our parents like post this stuff, and I'm like, it's literally like looking into the past. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
no, 100%.
It's watching them go through this cringy phase, and it makes you wonder if they'll ever get out of it, and they'll like suddenly be tweeting like oh, I just want to.
I don't think that they're necessarily going to get out of it. I think that this generation that we're in is going to grow up to be that generation, and then
there's no time in my life where I'm gonna post "live, laugh, love" on my Instagram and just like cursive.
you saw
Like,
that.
I saw
Did
one
you guys
that
see that
was
tweet
funny
like
today.
2 nights ago? It's like
it was like every
White mom.
Yes, I was about to bring up.
saying the
It was
same
like
thing.
yum, coffee, love, family.
John
like,
360.
yes. It was like every white mom's kitchen. And the fact that the font changed and it was like yum and it was like coffee written down. Oh my god, this shit was comedy,
I
dude.
DM'd that to Avery. I was like, Avery, this is your mom. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if
And
you're
it-
watching this. My
Oh
bad.
my god, that shit was great. But that's what I was like coming full circle. That's why you saying you think people figured out how to use the internet in the past 5 years. Really, what I think happened in the change of 2012 versus 2018 Twitter is like people who shouldn't have figured out how to use the internet figured out how to use the internet.
Like
and
who?
so
Like who?
like an influx of people came in on Twitter because in the past 5 years people figured out how to use Twitter. People figured out like my 88-year-old grandma has a phone now. My mom could easily navigate Twitter.
So you're saying the people that weren't there in 2012 and 13 and 14 and 15
exactly. You come
are
into
now
Twitter
jumping on.
like people who are
and they're late to the game in the rules and
people
they're
who
missing out on
matured
a
without
lot.
the humor of online
Right.
Twitter.
Yeah.
They matured in a different way, and they come on and they see all this edgy humor and stuff, and they're offended, and it's different. But like, and I don't know, it's just people are using Twitter that weren't using it back then, or people that think differently. For example, I guarantee you, a lot of this mob Twitter mentality is older people that have recently figured out how to use Twitter and are trying to use Twitter for certain reasons. I don't want to say old, but I'm saying
I would
some of
disagree
it
with
is
that.
it's that.
older.
I would disagree with that.
I would
think-
agree that that's a part of the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think the majority.
I think a
of
lot
it.
of it is
okay, I'll-
people our age that are just like,
Yeah, a lot
no,
of it are
that's
people-
wrong. Like you can't do
a lot
this.
of it are people our age just stuck inside their head, and they're just
Yeah.
like no, like I've been told by everyone I know that this is right, and therefore like you just don't understand then.
The lady that told me to kill myself like 90 times, she was like 40. Like she yeah.
What?
She was like 40. No,
well,
She's
she's been
filed
through
like a lawsuit.
no. When I say
She's been through some
lady,
shit.
I don't mean like
I almost
our
made a joke
age.
about that because you were like, this lady wouldn't leave me alone. I was like, what is she, a fucking Gen Xer, bro? Like,
No, yeah, she was
that's
like when we.
insane.
That's why they were
you
coming
got
at her
some
'cause-
bitch born in the 70s trying to tell you to kill yourself.
No, I'm telling you, bro. Like her bio was literally something about like
Yum coffee. 16.
Her bio was like, love thy neighbor or something.
But hate thy daydreamer.
Hate thy SoCal.
And so, if they change it, like, and so, I owe it to her that I changed it because.
Damn, she's got to be what, 50,
You're
60
like,
now?
thanks, Cheryl.
She's 60 now. She's like retiring.
No,
I think
she's
her
just
name was
on
like-
on the prowl. For
I think it was like Kathleen.
That's probably a story she tells to this day. Like, I bullied this one kid on Twitter.
She's just like, don't go on Twitter. There's too many fags.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people used to say the F word, like fag,
Bro,
fag. And
people
like, no.
people would literally
about
be on
cigarettes.
on 2012 Twitter, back when you could quote a tweet and edit what the person who tweeted it
Oh,
said.
yeah.
You could literally, like, someone could be like, oh my god, time for my morning paper, and then someone could quote it and then just be like, wow, why did you say this? And then you'd put your at name next to it
Yeah.
and be like, I'm a fag, and people would be like, this is hilarious, blah blah blah. Nowadays, real journalists go through Mike Trout's tweets to find him say the word gay a couple times, and then are like, get this man. Like,
during the what was it? What game was it?
it was the All-Star game.
All-Star
because one of
game,
the
yeah.
relief pitchers had the
I was
N-word
at your
Yeah.
house.
We were at
riddled
your
through
house.
Yeah, we
his
were all
tweet.
at
And
your
he
house
just
when that
stayed in the
happened.
dugout and never came out.
Well, it was while he was pitching, I think. I think it
Oh.
was because he was pitching and his name was brought up a bunch, and people were like, "Who is this guy?" And so they found him, and of course, mob Twitter is gonna go, "Okay, I'm gonna get." As soon as anybody goes viral with any type of opinion, people immediately put your at name and then the N word next to it or the F word, and then they just go through your tweets until they find something, and then they're like, "Everything you say is invalid from here on out." And like there are people who
And
like,
that was barely found out, I think, within this year, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And
I don't think
there-
people knew that they could do that before this year.
Oh my
and-
god, this brings up. Oh, we can
Well,
seriously talk
this is
for
the
so
thing
long.
because,
This
like-
brings up James Gunn. Like, oh, dude, I could talk about that for a while. James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy,
oh
he
my
just
God,
got
I
fired
know.
for
Yeah,
tweets
that
that were
was such
10
bull.
years
Yeah,
old.
that was such
And so
bull.
yeah, he got. I don't know if I'm too far from the mic or not because I kind of lean back, but like he got fired for tweets that were 10 years old, and
ones
like,
that he already acknowledged and apologized for.
Bro, 6 years ago. Like, so he
Yeah.
tweeted them 10 years ago, and then 6 years ago, before he even started development for Guardians Volume 1, he came out publicly without anyone forcing him to and apologized for those tweets and said, this is bad, I'm not like this, I'm going to change. Then he starts development on Guardians 1, makes one of the biggest blockbusters of that year, makes Disney billions of dollars, then goes on to make a second
Another
Guardians of the
blockbuster.
Galaxy, and goes on to executive produce and direct the scenes that have Guardians in them in Avengers Infinity War. And he's one of the big, and on the Avengers Infinity War bonus features, he's all over them, dude. Like, there's a whole segment of James Gunn talking about just directing in general on the bonus features of Infinity War. And they fired him because someone got mad that he doesn't like Trump. And because of that, he went back and was like, "Okay, way back here, you used to do stand-up comedy and you did edgy humor
And you
back
made
in
some
10 years
some
old."
like molestation joke, and therefore
Yeah.
like you don't deserve this hard work that you've earned.
Well, my thing is, in the first place, regardless of everything, dude, Disney's not an idiot. Disney, like, background check
Well,
this
everybody
fool,
just likes to keep
and,
their
like,
hands clean.
Oh yeah, but Disney background, you better
Disney
believe
knew about it.
Disney knew about
They
this.
knew about
it.
And then the only reason they acted on it was because they were called out on it, and so they were
Right.
backed in a corner, and they were like, and the statement that Alan Horn, he's the top guy with Bob Iger at Disney. Alan Horn sees all of the movie productions at Disney. He was the one who said, "We are severing all business ties with James Gunn. We just found out about this." Bullshit. You didn't
Yeah,
just
when
find
they
out
got
about
hired,
that.
they probably told him,
Oh.
like, hey, if it ever comes up,
Like,
you know, you get
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
boot.
they're-
like we're gonna act like we never
And
ever
because
saw
of the way
this.
the cast and the fans revolted against the decision, they met with James Gunn. As far as I'm concerned, James Gunn actually denied to go back on Guardians, but is allowing them to use the script. So they're using James
Oh, yeah, I
Gunn's
saw that.
script.
That whole thing was going
He's
back
not
and
going to
forth with
direct
the
it, but they are using his script. So now it's like,
Well,
okay,
because what's
like,
his name that plays the big guy Jack?
Dave Bautista.
Right.
Yeah,
He was, like,
he threatened
fighting
to
for
leave.
that to
he
happen.
wanted out of his
Yeah.
contract if they
Yeah.
didn't use his script
Right.
because he
So he still
thought
has
it
a
was
job,
wrong.
right?
What?
He still has his job, right?
Yeah.
Because they used his script. But at one
I mean,
point, he
as
did
of
quit,
this
didn't
moment. No.
He never
He's
quit?
contractually
Okay.
obligated. All he said was he came out was like, if Disney does not use the James Gunn's script for Volume 3, I'm going to ask to be let out of my contract. He was like, I don't want to play this role. I'm not going to do this to James Gunn. Disney was like, all right. But this wasn't because of Dave Bautista.
Right.
I don't think they were tripping about that.
Yeah, because they literally were like, we just need another big bald guy.
No, literally, I was going to say, let's be real. As much as we all love Drax, you
Diesel.
could replace
Yeah, I
Drax.
would say Vin Diesel would literally just play
Like,
two roles.
You could replace Drax.
I am
and so
Groot. He doesn't even come out in the other role. He's just
exactly.
all audio.
And like and now Warner Brothers, I know Lionsgate, Universal, they are all like beating down James Gunn's door with offers for him to direct movies.
Really?
Oh yeah, he is having offer after offer, and this is, dude, he has the nicest setup. Disney is paying James Gunn. This is all legit facts. You can look this up. I know it's at least $10 million for nothing. Just because they're firing him, they're like, okay, hey, we're going to buy your script from you. Because now they're purchasing the script from him, so he's going to get millions for that. But in the contract, because they let him go, they legally are obligated. It's a payout. They are paying James Gunn $10 million to do nothing. To leave.
To walk out the building.
To walk out the building. To walk out, literally, to do nothing. And this is all because, I went off on this.
We gotta keep our.
This is all
subject.
because of the whole, someone went back
Mob
10 years ago,
thing.
found something, and was like, everything you say is invalid, get this man fired. And, I mean, this is a whole other story now.
Have you guys ever gone through your tweets? Recently, I went to. I go through my tweets.
Yeah, we just
I have, because I've gone viral. I'm not trying to ruin my
Yeah.
life over some
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
crap I thought I could say when I was 15.
Let's bring it up right now.
Yeah, there you go. See?
I actually went
Nick
through.
is currently
I went through
fact-checking
Avery's the other night, and I just kept DMing her once. I was like, "This gotta go. This
gotta-
gotta go."
One of my favorite things I've ever done to people I follow on Twitter, and I recommend you both do this because we don't all have the exact same followers, is go through, because you know how you can filter the tweets that you search from everyone to people
go to like
you
the
follow.
search icon on the bottom, and then
You search your @ and then a...
Yeah.
Well, I
Whatever.
know that's not even what I'm talking about. The thing I did was I went through. I just searched XD and then switched it over to people I follow,
Rawr.
and then I literally went back to 2012 and I found every person who said XD and I DM'd it to them, or I liked it, or I commented on it, and I was like. Look what I found. And people are
poked it.
deleting them left and right. They're like, "What are you doing? Where did you find this? I can't believe this!" And it's so funny. It's so gold. So if you ever want to ruin somebody's life just for a little bit, you got to look that up and find it.
Yeah.
And you'll get some gold.
You put me on blast for shit that you found of me on
Oh
Twitter.
my god!
Like-
And everybody, I feel so bad for you, Dylan.
Which one was that? I'm trying to remember.
Which one was it? But
I was trying to.
it was mean. I know that much.
No, yeah, but I can't remember.
He said,
which
"No,
tweet
yeah, I know it was me."
Oh, yeah, because I was in the same room.
No, I was thinking about the one where it's like, fuck, I don't remember about you liking. It was recent.
Well, I remember I quoted one and I was like, "Oh, edgelord." Like,
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, it was because I tweeted something like I know I didn't tweet.
you were like,
this.
"I hate
No,
society."
I was like, it was something like we live in a society. Or it was like I
I was
hate,
like, "Oh, gather
like,
around this prophet."
I hate our modern society. And this was like 2013. I'm a sophomore, and it's
this is like Dylan finally understanding like a little bit of politics. He's just like,
Right.
"Fuck the world."
and he quotes it and goes like edgelord. Well, goes to warped once, and goes to warped once, dyes his hair black. But
I think the one I was thinking about is what we were talking about at BJ's with Springer, and we were talking about the length of your
my
penis. Is
God.
like, I know everybody's dick length here. He's like, but I don't know your Springer.
oh yeah, no, but I don't.
We
Yeah,
have a friend who has like size 15 feet. And Dylan was straight up interrogating this man when he got because he wanted to know the size of what was down under.
Bro, you cannot sit here and look me in the eyes and bullshit me and tell me that you were not curious about that. I mean, I will change the subject because I'm not
curious.
going to put Springer on blast
I walked
right
out of-
now.
I walked out of the restaurant.
we can,
I hope they can hear this. I don't want to know how big my friend's dick is, Dylan.
He's looking right at you. Listen, we're gonna change the subject because this fool is this guy's a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Like he literally was like he just walked up to Springer, put his hand on his shoulder. He's like, "Come on, bro, I know you're hung." And I was like, "Dylan, like, bro, you gotta chill on me."
What can I say, man? Sometimes I gotta know what I want to know, man.
Oh my god,
But yeah, okay. Like, I don't. There's a whole lot of
Twitter, man.
You see, the thing is, like, but no, okay, so, man, I told you we were going to go off on tangents. We talked about immigration, James Gunn.
Yeah, it's already. What time did we start recording at?
iFunny, everything.
Nick, does anybody know?
How
How long have we been
We're at
recording
hour 2,
for?
right?
Sheldon.
Hey guys,
Hey Devin. Everybody,
Recording.
can you guys hear me out there? How long have we been going for?
An hour and 20.
Damn, it feels like we've been
Wrap
going,
it up then.
Well, it feels like we've been going for like 2
Way
hours.
longer.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Okay, so what have we covered? We covered going viral,
Twitter mobs.
Twitter mobs.
There's a really good video online on YouTube. It's called Twitter Mobs, and it's when you had DM'd it to me like a year ago or sometime. And it was, it talks about like what specifically Twitter Mobs do and how they accumulate together. And I think that everybody should go check that out. And specifically, I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it? The storyline that it follows is when it was like a foreign girl had like a turban on her head, and someone had like, they're like, oh, this guy ripped it off or had said something.
Yeah, this girl faked getting her turban ripped off.
Yeah.
She said that she was out in public and some guy walked up to her and ripped it off her head.
Yeah, and so she had tweeted like, oh, fuck this guy, like here's where basically, and then people were chiming in like, oh, here's where he lives, here's his job, like here's like his phone number, everything.
Was it
right?
a real person?
It was a real person,
guy,
right?
but
And
it
so then
never
like
happened.
it never happened. It had like 6-digit retweets, and then cops like had continued their investigation, and it turns out he was actually protecting her from getting robbed from somebody else. Like he was helping her.
Yeah, and she ended
she
up
had
like,
it so
taking something
twisted.
the wrong way and
Yeah.
twisting it around and like ruining this man
Yeah.
over like a rumor, and then nothing. Like it just over nothing.
Oh boy, that's a
Yeah.
whole other subject.
So yeah, Twitter Mobs is very detailed and explained correctly. You guys should go check out that video.
So we have
probably link it.
Viral old
Going
Twitter,
viral, old Twitter.
mobs
Trolling?
and trolling.
Trolling.
So I
Takashi.
I don't think I don't think a whole lot
Takashi,
of like
is that you, Takashi?
Takashi. Like I don't think a whole lot of. Does trolling really still exist?
It honestly is kind of disappearing if you're being real about it.
And that's what I
like,
was saying. I was like, can we talk about it? I don't think trolling really exists anymore. When you're talking about like, okay, when I think
50
of
Cent
trolling,
still
like,
trolls.
Oh, 100%. Floyd Mayweather. Like I think
Can
like
I tell you when? Oh my God, 50 Cent when he was calling out Floyd Mayweather, and he was like, if you could read one page of a Harry Potter book,
you can read one page from a Harry Potter book. Like,
he's like, I know you can't read them words of Harry Potter, so we gonna do cat in the hat. Like,
so we gonna do cat and hat.
like that's funny as hell. But like, I feel like
Yeah, nobody else.
You can't-
Nobody outside of that trolls.
Well, 'cause I remember,
honestly,
like,
Mainly because you don't have like
equals
the foundation to.
Yeah.
like
nobody
it's
can
gone.
attack 50
Mob
Cent.
Twitter ruined. Mob Twitter. I feel like Mob Twitter
Yeah.
ruined trolling.
Mob
Because
Twitter
it's like,
is the new troll. It's the
because-
epitome. Like
because if you say something and you're trolling, and if you want to say something that's like maybe like racially edgy or maybe like sexually edgy or gender edgy, like people will literally take you seriously and then try to dox you or ruin your life over stupid bullshit.
no, trolling
You have
was
to really watch what you
trolling
say
was
nowadays,
just
yeah.
and you can't even do this. The reason why I think trolling is dying is because trolling was very immature insults, but like you posted something, trolling was just gay. It was just
Yeah.
just gay, just like gay everything.
And I guess
gay,
like in the sense of trolling, it still does live on when someone tweets something and then it's like, look at your fucking AV, like you look stupid.
But
I
that's
see
more like
trolling-
roasting.
I see
Which-
trolling
okay,
as
yeah,
like-
that's,
as
that's
like-
true
yeah,
too.
you're
It's more
right.
like roasting
Yeah.
it.
Well, I see trolling as like pretending to be stupid or pretending to say something and then just to get a reaction out of somebody.
Oh yeah.
So like,
That's
so
what
like,
I
it's not
mean.
authentic.
like I guarantee like half of the flat Earth society is trolling people because they legit just want to get people who they
The
call
donuters?
round earthers.
Oh, yeah, you saw that recent one?
Donut Earth is trolling. Like
The
that kind of
sky's
stuff.
blue because we're actually looking into oceans.
Yeah, it's that stuff that's trolling. And honestly, I feel like Donald Trump is one of the biggest trolls on Twitter.
Oh,
like
I
he
swear,
posts shit.
dude.
that
If
is
if
so
people wouldn't quote
stupid,
retweet
it's
him, I'm
funny.
like, bro, it would die out. Like
No,
if we
people-
just let it
people
go.
literally are like, I
Tweets
hate
this
this
stuff
fire.
looking for the
Yeah,
reaction.
right.
Yeah.
Because you know,
he
half
tweets-
the shit
he-
he tweets, you can't be serious.
Yeah, no,
Like,
he'll
you
tweet. He'll
can't
be like,
serious.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, including all my haters and all the losers out there. And it's like
As
that's
he's wearing
so
DGK.
ridiculous. It's so
Hey,
stupid,
who's
ridiculous that
you
it's
know who does it a
funny.
lot? Who's that like white female Republican chick? She's super hot.
Tommy Lauren
Tommy, and
Tommy
she
Lauren, yeah.
like she just like talks out of her neck all the damn
Yeah.
time.
tucks out her neck. I've never heard that before. She be
And
tucking out
people
her
quote
neck.
retweet her like, and like they like it's putting her on in the sense that like we wouldn't have gave that attention if you didn't say anything. Like if you didn't quote retweet
Yeah.
it, we would have never acknowledged.
That's
her.
one of the things
And,
that-
and actually, I think her cult following is dying out. By the way.
Oh,
She's
no,
getting-
she's
yeah,
definitely
she's
losing
fizzling out.
her relevance. But like one thing that
She
I want to
said
bring up,
stupid stuff.
one thing I want to bring up
Just
that like
stupid
pisses
stuff.
me off about
Like-
Twitter, I think this is a whole nother subject that we can get into, is the entirety of just like how journalism has just gone down the drain.
Oh,
Dude, I was gonna
And
bring
how
this up in
it's
the
so
CNN
awful.
Okay,
thing.
like-
do these
well-
journalism know what they're doing? Do they know that they're going down the drain? Because like we could see it, and like they get quote retweeted, and they go,
know.
they know it's a
They
terrible header.
know.
I mean, like that too, because like people will tweet stuff on purpose because they know Twitter will get a reaction out of it. They know
be
the reaction will
careful
go
with the
viral. Oh, they
You
people,
pounded the like. There's already a hole in that section of the table.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, I can see.
I can see because you're
No.
so passionate about
But like people, but for instance, like, but what I was
Listen
talking
here,
about when it
bucko.
came to giving something attention and it not going away because you're giving it attention is like that. There's a small Twitter media outlet called AJ Plus, and I despise
Oh,
it. It's
yes.
so annoying
Yes.
because
I
like
can
there
touch
was
your
one,
shoulder.
there was one where it was. There was one where like this.
Well,
Lady,
they appeal to the emotion.
they-
They're a
there
news
was
outlet,
this-
right? AJ
But
Plus.
they
Well, no,
appeal
quote,
every
unquote,
time
but
to the emotion.
there was this girl who was out there, out like in public, and she was at the park, and like some dude came up to her and started like saying like racial slurs to her, and just was like, "Get out of here, go back to your country," blah blah blah. I think she was Mexican.
I think I've seen this.
And she just recorded him, and that was the whole video. And it was like this man in Idaho said some racist things to this woman, and it was saying it in like a news like format and making it seem super serious. And I was like, this isn't newsworthy. This is literally just some asshole white dude who came up to this woman and was like, I don't like you because of your race, culture, color, whatever. And
We fed it.
and
We
it's
fed
like,
it.
it's like,
Yeah.
why even cover that? Like,
Views,
why cover
clicks.
that? Because
Exactly. They're
it's
adding the
literally
fire.
these people, and it's either they're so obsessed with this narrative of like of racial injustice, or even at the slightest of scales with something like this insignificant old man who no one gives a shit about, but you have to give him a platform. They're either so obsessed with that they have to like scream it to the skies whenever anything happens,
Right.
or they don't give a shit about anything they're saying and they just need the clicks for the money. And either way, it's totally like bullshit.
But it's like people that like at one point we did have a lot of self-respect for, like, because CNN went out the window super quick on Twitter. But like just recently within this last week, it was like a lot of ABC.
You saw the ABC tweet about that politician?
Yeah,
That's what I was. That's what I
yeah.
meant to bring up. Here I go again. I don't know why this is my first reaction.
No,
I
it's
think it's because
okay.
I feel
It's 'cause-
far.
Hey, do you
Yeah,
guys
we're
ever
all
get
here
anxious when they touch your collarbone? Like,
Do you
when,
ever get
like
nervous?
My
I will
collarbone
snap your
actually-
shit like a toothpick right now.
No, but it's unfazed though because
Do
it's
you ever
trust.
get nervous? That tweet where it was like,
so-
"Do you want cash back?" It's like, "Do you want cash back?" This
Like,
is
do
enter
you
your
want a
pin.
receipt?
Do you want a receipt?
Are
you
you
ever
high
get
right
nervous?
now?
Are
Do you
you
ever
ever
get
get
nervous? Okay, so context on the tweet we were talking
the
about, the
ABC
ABC
tweet.
7
That's what I
tweet.
want to- Yeah.
So there was a tweet about some guy running in. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Yeah, pull it up.
So we can take
Yeah,
a pause
do
on
that.
this.
Yeah.
So I don't butcher
And
it.
another account that I wanted to ask you about. Cycle. Do you guys watch Cycle?
I've
like
watched them a
Cycle
few
videos.
times,
Yeah.
yeah.
I enjoy like
Their logo like spins,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I've seen
I enjoy
yeah.
some of their like uplifting
Okay.
videos, but not as like a news outlet.
Yeah.
So I found it. So
I like the
ABC,
dodo.
ABC News
Yeah,
tweeted.
the dodo. Yeah,
The
yeah.
dodo's cute.
Because they
Makes
talk
me
about
happy.
animals.
Oh yeah, the dodo's nice. I like
I
that.
like the dodo.
The dodo, keep doing what
Honestly,
you're doing.
I was kind of skeptical
dodo.
about the dodo because they formatted their stuff just like BuzzFeed and AJ Plus. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. When it first came
Are you
out,
talking about like the video and the music in the background? With,
and
like,
the
yeah.
framing and the font.
Yeah.
When it first came out, I was super skeptical about it because they didn't have that many like videos about like dogs or cats. So when I first saw it, it was all about like pigs and cows, and I was like, this is vegan propaganda.
This
I was
is
like,
this
this is
fish.
100%
Oh my
people
God.
subliminally trying to push veganism.
This is
Vegan
PETA
propaganda.
sponsoring.
So it's literally, that's what I
Yeah.
thought at first.
Tell
But it,
PETA
it's
Mamik
nice
is
to like
dragging
that's
on the
fucking-
floor.
So the ABC tweet, they tweeted, and this is ABC, like their Twitter. They said just hours after winning the GOP nomination for Florida, Ron DeSantis said the last thing Floridans need to do is monkey this up by electing his African American opponent Andrew Gillum. They
true.
specifically worded this in order to call out outrage because you can see in the responses,
in the
the first
mentions
thing
are
people say, they're
crazy.
like, that's not what he said. This headline is wildly misleading. The actual quote was, the voters should not monkey this up by enacting a socialist agenda with a huge tax increase. That has nothing to do with the guy or what his race is or what color he is. It has everything to do with the political opinions that he stands for. And so
Can I say in this instance very bluntly, like they created racism in that instance?
Yeah, they literally
100%. I feel like they manufactured
wasn't
racism.
at.
Sure. Like,
and because if they can just do anything, they're sitting there salivating, waiting for someone to just say monkey in the same breath as referring to someone who's an African American, and they lose their damn mind, and they just were like, this will create outrage, this will create clicks, this will get
like,
people to hop
do you
on
think
it.
the author of that article is proud? Like when they do that, because journalism used to
Yeah.
be held at a very high
no,
regard.
honestly, I think there's
and
a
now I feel
disconnect
like it's a
because
joke.
I think it gives them money. I think it gives them a raise,
Okay,
maybe.
well, yeah, and I think that's what they talk about in their meetings and stuff like that. But it's clearly like if I'm a journalist, like I'm like that's not my job as social media. So like that's definitely not their job, and that probably messes their credibility up.
Yeah, probably.
Because they're not telling them, hey, tweet this.
Yeah.
They're coming up with a header and like a one-liner.
There's like I have this theory that you guys have all confirmed already when we're talking about it, that news outlets tweet specifically provocative things purposely for people to quote it with an outrage so that it blows up so that more people see their articles. And so one of the things that like people absolutely hate is they hate when a white person commits a crime and then the picture they post of them is like a family picture. And then they hate when a black person commits a crime and the picture they post is a mugshot. And I'm sure like at first it probably would like nobody was paying attention to it. Right. And then someone was like, this is bullshit. And then ABC or CNN or whoever saw that, oh my God, this person quoted it and they got
outraged by
50,000 retweets on it. And our views on this article went up by 400%. They were like, do this more. And so they'll post pictures more.
We're like 4,000%.
Yeah. And they'll post pictures more specifically what they know will upset people. Just in the headline, not in the article, just so people will click on it and read the article and go, oh, that's not what I thought it was. And then go out of it. And just that one click.
Are majority of people clicking the article?
Revenue. Huh?
Are majority of people clicking the article?
But no, that's the thing. The majority of them aren't. But they're not. The majority of people are not clicking the article, but that attention that they give it gets them more clicks regardless. So more clicks than they would normally have just posting a tweet.
Right.
And so like the people who don't click it are the ones that help spread it out to the people who do. Right. And they're the catalyst.
Because they don't care if they read the article. Like once they have that click, it's documented, and then they can go run and tell their sponsors that hey, we get
this many clicks.
Yeah, we get 20,000 clicks.
We're going to charge this much for
whatever.
An ad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what you said about like, and people wonder why. If you're sane, I think, like, people wonder why we go to Philip DeFranco for our news nowadays.
Because
and why we go to, like, online sources like that, where it's, like, because he's not worried about something that's, like, pushing an agenda. And one thing that Philip DeFranco started doing, and if you guys don't know who Philip DeFranco is, he has a news channel on YouTube. Man. Yeah, he's an amazing person, but he has a news channel on YouTube, and he's just very centrist and very, like, even and just unbiased about everything.
He'll give his opinion, but he won't let that affect the story.
Yeah, exactly. He'll give his opinion far after the story. But, like, what he started doing, which I thought was really awesome, and a lot of news sites have followed after this, is, and it's crazy to say this, but, like, whenever a mass shooting happens, because apparently that's just something that happens all the time now, or when someone does...
Well, it's happening more often, yeah.
Yeah, like a fatal shooting, or whenever one person enacts a horrible, horrible crime, he does not show their picture because he believes, and I believe too, that a big motivation for people to act and do crimes like that is because they want to like be remembered. Right. They want to like have their face plastered everywhere, and so he doesn't want to give them that power. He doesn't like say their name or like their picture or anything.
A perfect example of this is who is the most famous person from history that everyone compares something bad to? Hitler. Thank you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Everyone refers to Hitler.
Never heard of him.
And so this is let me show you why Philip DeFranco does this exact thing. If I ask you who committed genocide against millions of Jews, you immediately Hitler. Yeah. And then I asked you who took over Germany after him.
Stalin.
Stalin was Russian.
I know, but
no, I know. It's funny. All right, I don't know if you guys know.
What did you say?
I don't think he's on.
What's his name? Frank or?
I don't know if you guys know.
Philip DeFranco.
Philip DeFranco.
Oh yeah, he's everywhere, bro.
Yeah,
he's a huge YouTube channel. Oh, it's the PDS show, the Philip DeFranco show. Right. He's huge.
Stop it.
And like on YouTube, but
too.
Twitter too. But I only brought that up because Caleb tweeted that about the ABC 7 article because it was like
I was like, you
tweet headlines like this and you wonder why people go to Philip DeFranco because he You believe me, bro. You'll if you go to watch him, you'll binge. Like it's because he's just like a news source channel, but it's just him, and he's just very unbiased and very open, and is just like, listen, like he's like, these are the facts, and then after he tells you all the facts, he's like, this is my opinion. This is how I feel.
Right.
And usually he's very centrist.
Yeah, he
He's
usually doesn't say
very in the
anything
middle.
too like crazy.
Yeah, he never goes like
Left or
really
right.
one
He just
way.
states what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just like you know,
cool.
like a murder happened, and I think it's bad, but I also think like it could be prevented this way, but it doesn't mean we need to finger point. Like it's something as simple as that.
He'll say
where you're
something
like,
that's
this
like-
is actually something we
Yeah.
can progress
Right.
with.
Something that's more left, and then he'll counteract it with something that's more right, and then counteract it with something that's more like kind of like that. I don't know. It's
He
just
doesn't.
a great.
He makes
person.
sure that he assesses both sides without making it
Yeah.
just like this is the one that's right. and this
Yeah,
is the
he
one
still
that's
gets
wrong.
called like a Nazi and a snowflake.
Because he's protecting the other side that people don't like to
because
look at.
because
Yeah.
he doesn't stick to one.
Right.
And
Yeah, you gotta choose a side on Twitter. You think you just
Even just
play
like
both?
online, man.
Please.
Like,
yeah,
please.
I mean,
you better
You
just
think
do
you
the
can
thing.
just post
There's a
memes all
team
day?
here.
Really? You think you can just post memes?
yeah, but
You're
like,
either gonna
Newsflash,
retweet
buddy.
if you
I
don't
see you're
retweet
still
this.
alive.
Yeah.
we all know who you are, Daydreamer 07.
Whoever
We will
has
find
that,
you.
whoever has that at name now.
She said you thought you could change this?
I hope you use it well.
But like with Twitter,
hope you're
it basically
daydreaming.
comes down to here is the absolute bonkers lefties, and here's the absolute bonkers righties. And if you're not on one side,
Fight.
if you're in the middle, then you have two enemies.
Yeah.
You have to fight both sides.
Yeah. And I see that's a battle you take on a lot on Twitter. I
Yeah, no,
definitely
I
see
have
you
to-
play.
there's so
It's
many
not that
times-
you're playing both sides of the fence. It's that you're just right down the middle, and you can see the positives, the cons, the pros.
Yeah, and I think one of like I get in a lot of Twitter arguments with people that I really shouldn't be getting in arguments with because I know there's nothing to gain from it. But that's not the point of why I get
there's a
in the
point.
arguments.
You
Like
gotta lay
people
down.
are always like I'll get in arguments with people on Twitter who are like super ignorant, and people will be like will DM me and they'll be like it's pointless. You're not going to change their mind. And I'm like if I wanted to change their mind, I'd DM them. I was like, the reason I get in these arguments is because this person is tweeting something, and not only are they like tweeting misinformation,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
spreading it.
yeah,
And so
100%.
if you see this misinformation being spread and nothing's counteracting it, you're just going to take it as it is with no type
Right.
of argument against it.
Well, I don't know. Like this was like last week where someone had said lower the voting age to 16, and then K-Tub had retweeted it and said
Fuck
let's
no,
hire
baby.
hire the voting age to 25. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone from New England, no,
someone
from
it was one
London.
of my friends from London.
Someone from London
She
said
tweeted
you
at-
can't obviously think this.
Yeah, she's like you
You
can't
ain't even in the
obviously-
States, girl.
Yeah. She was like you can't honestly say that you stand for this, and it's like yeah, I kind of do. Like 25 maybe extreme.
At 16,
But like 16 not. 18 we don't give a shit. We don't.
we barely started to
like,
think like
how
this.
many
in
people-
the
I can
last-
see-
in
I
the
can
last
see
21.
21.
How many? 21's one of the ones where I'm like, yeah, maybe. But like, think about this. Like, how many people do you know that were our age that during the election when we were the one where Trump was actually in it, our first fucking election.
I know.
That one. How many people do you
Like,
know that
that was
actually
actually-
researched the props for California and voted on those? Nobody gave a fucking shit about those, and those are the ones that are going to affect us the
Well,
most.
nobody voted a couple weeks ago when we have the ones coming up for November.
Yeah, nobody cares
Like,
about the
nobody
more
voted on those.
the more local elections.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like we still don't. You know why? Because a lot of us are still working a lot of us at this age and younger are still working either part-time jobs that don't affect us or just now getting into full-time jobs, and we're not realizing how much politics affects our lives until we actually have a life that can be affected by politics. And it's
Well,
it's
we've
a
also
little
too
circular reasoning there.
we've been in an age group where the market's only been going up and up and up and up. Like we don't know what a market crash looks like. Like we don't
besides
know
the 08 one when we were kids.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna
like
say, yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we weren't buying stuff at the time.
we weren't
and-
adults being affected by that. And to think that the majority of people who are 18 voting live with their parents. Like they don't.
They said lower the legal age to 16. At 16, my at name was Diller Light. I don't want someone called Diller Light to vote for my next president.
Yeah,
like
or vote for the laws that are going to affect your jurisdiction, like
That's what I'm
stuff like that.
saying.
And it's so
At 16,
stupid because people
fuck
don't
no.
people don't care, and it comes up, and then they're like, well, what side or what are all the things my team is voting for, and then they just pick what their team picks, and then they
Yeah,
go on.
what are my-
Literally just
what
a
are my
drone
friends
to
voting
copy
I
for?
want
votes.
to know why 16. What basis?
Because
Why were they saying 16
because-
off of what?
because you can't pick an odd number. Are you crazy?
I know you're crazy. I have to change it.
Crazy.
The volume, the AC, like what the heck?
Yeah, it's one of those things. And like another further argument for raising the voting age is the fact that your brain isn't fully developed until you're 25.
100%.
Like our brains are still
dropped
developing.
Breaking the table already.
Yeah.
No, it was not the table.
But
Go
like
on.
like our brains are still developing at this age. Like we could change our opinions. Like people at our age use emotions all the time as their logic and as their like problem solver and as their way to like find out a solution for something. And emotion like strays you away from the actual solution all the time. It just clouds your judgment. And to think that people who think like that and use that for their basis of decision making are going to go out there and make decisions for how the country's run, fuck no. Fuck no.
Fuck
Like,
no, baby.
yeah, I'm not rocking with that. And like,
Me neither, dog.
yeah, no, that is totally not twisted, my guy. But
I'm glad someone. I was.
You guys saw that one tweet? It was like, if I start voting, I might get drafted.
Yeah, if I start voting, I might get drafted.
yeah, like you really,
I'm not
like,
messing with that. Like, no.
it's one of those things where it's like
Yeah,
you
definitely.
no. Just no.
Yeah.
And you can go into it and you can explain it, but like to the people who aren't going to listen, it's a waste of time. And so like stuff like that, I'll quote it, not trying to change the minds of these crazy 16-year-olds, but I'm quoting it to try to get the people who are
16-year-olds.
I'm trying
See,
to
now
act
you sound like the generation before.
I
You
know,
hate
but
me
like
on
I'm
the-
trying. I'm
haywire.
quoting it, trying to get, trying to let the people who are on the fence about it something. Like I'm trying to give them the other opinion because there are a lot of times where I sit down and I get in like long, detailed conversation with people and I ask them questions about stuff that like just like digs at my brain daily, and they're like, I've never thought of that before. Like that's not a topic that I ever dwell on, and I'm like, how? And so the fact that there are people out there who don't even think about stuff that you and I may like think about all the time, and then an opinion shows up on that and it's their first impression of it and they go, that makes sense, and then they adopt that opinion and move on.
Right.
It's like if you can just let that misinformation continue to spread, then like that's where I'm like I feel obligated to state my opinion, because for the people who don't think about it at all,
Well, also too,
they
you're not
need
just
a
giving your
counteraction.
opinion. I think the one thing that I like about when you tweet about something political or something that's trending at the moment is you give like a neutral side, and you're like,
I never
look,
wanna
here's
lean.
like the other side.
Yeah, because
and that nobody's talking about.
One thing I ranted to Springer, the one that we brought up before on different occasions. One thing I ranted about it is like Twitter is so filled with people on the left wing that are just nuts, and I feel like I constantly have to combat them. And I'm like I kind of want to like argue against people on the right who are nuts, but they're not that popular on Twitter, so you don't get that many times where you get to argue with them. But oh my god, I remember one time on Twitter when people when all damn white folk were defending the Confederate flag, and I went off on them, bro. I hate that shit.
Well, especially
it's
me,
a whole
like I grew up going to a high school that our mascot is the Rebel,
and he had a Confederate flag for
yes,
the longest
for the
time.
longest time. Yeah, my mom graduated from Courtsell High School.
California.
Modern. They're trying to change it right now, but my mom went to Courtsell High School.
I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Really?
No, there was a guy that used to run around the football field with the Confederate flag when my mom went to high school.
My mom graduated from Courtsell High School, and she still has a mug from, I think she graduated in like 1976 or something is when, and that on the mug it's Johnny Rebel with a Confederate flag and an American flag on the mug, and that's why the Courtsell is home of the Rebels, and which is home of the Confederacy, the Confederates.
Home of the
like
Confederates.
that's literally what it is, and so and that's why going into going to high school there,
At them on Twitter.
we dude, I'm talking every and I got on so many kids' heads about this, but every little, I'm talking 5 foot tall little white kid was just come up with their lifted like pre-runner truck with a Confederate flag off the back of it. And I remember kids got pressed about it, and
they're like, it's tradition.
No,
bro.
and
you grew up in California.
That's what I'm saying. And
Your tradition is an In-N-Out flag with a bear on it.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Your
and
tradition is
their
the secret
defense
message
was
at the bottom of the cup.
Their defense was that Courtsell was the home of the Rebels, and so they were like literally like it was once our mascot. How can you tell me to take this down? And it was just bad, dude. But I went to the school where it was there a lot, like the whole Confederate flag
it's
stuff.
So ridiculous, because it's like, and like when I hear like right-wing nuts start talking about how like, oh, you just don't understand its tradition, like it doesn't mean this anymore. Like there's black people in the South who like the Confederate flag. They're dumbasses too. I don't give a shit. You can be whatever color. You can be purple. You got a Confederate flag on. You're stupid, and you don't know what it truly represents. Yeah. You can contort, you can twist, you can cherry pick all you want about what that information comes down to, but when it comes down to the facts, Civil War, non-slavery for slavery, and the Confederate flag represented for slavery. Granted, details in the entire Civil War of everything. Like both sides really didn't give a shit about slavery. It was more about the money. But
I think we watched 2 different movies, man.
But like,
which one did you see?
I don't remember that in Civil War.
oh my god!
All right, we gotta wrap this
Captain
up.
America fighting
But
against
yeah,
the
like-
Force.
Civil War sucked, by the way.
What?
Another podcast.
Oh my god! No!
Another
no!
podcast for another time.
No!
But I'm gonna say one thing. How is the guy that fights for America
the
like
mics.
breaking the law?
Cut their mics.
Oh my
Okay.
god. I swear, we'll go for another 3 hours if you want to argue me.
Yeah,
Civil War is my all-time favorite MCU movie, and I'll hit you with fact after fact right now.
Okay,
All
but
right.
this is why we need another
Oh
podcast for
my
another time. Okay, so what I was getting at is Twitter is mainly left-wing nuts and a sprinkle of right-wing nuts. What's the difference? But
What's the difference?
it's of white-wing nuts. And it's literally like I get so sick of battling the people who are like microaggressions, feminism, like racism, oppression, like all this crap.
And fuck
like,
your microaggressions.
I want to battle the people that are like Confederate flag and like
I think
like
that they're-
trickle down
They're dying
economics.
out.
Stupid shit like that.
Trickle down.
Like I want to argue the people on the right too, but they're not there. They don't exist. There's Trump, and I don't give any
that's a good
attention
thing
to
though.
him. This is stupid.
Isn't that not a good thing though that the right wing people are kind of weeding out?
Well, this is the thing. I think there are right-wing people, but I think they're so stupid that I don't even give them attention. Like, I hear them over here, like, and I'm like...
Yeah, Twitter algorithms don't acknowledge
Yeah,
it.
and I just don't even pay attention. I'm
Twitter
like,
algorithms are like, the numbers aren't going to
like
be
it
here.
pisses me off when people get outraged about Trump because I'm like, honestly, like, just ignore him. Like when has the president ever directly affected your life in such a way where it's like life-changing? It hasn't. We have such a system implemented where you're safe. So when people are like super upset over Trump's tweets, I'm like, you seriously need to know how to let go, bro.
Yeah.
Like you need to know how to like just take some things with a grain of salt and just ignore it and move along.
Hell no. We don't play that shit.
Also, one thing...
Everything
like,
is an outrage at all times.
everything affects me personally.
Any type of injustice needs to be served justice.
All right, guys, we got to wrap this up. Final thoughts.
No, yeah.
Like 3 to 5 seconds.
All right,
we got to start
all right,
wrapping
final
this.
thoughts.
We gotta start
It makes sense that Captain America would turn on his government because his government turned on him. I recognize that's your opinion, and I
You're like,
appreciate
you don't think the Bucky Barnes reveal was one of the greatest reveals?
I appreciate that that's your opinion, but your opinion is wrong, and I'm willing to combat you on that. But anyways, okay, yeah, Twitter is a terrible place. Twitter's an awful place. Twitter makes me want to
Kill
kill
myself,
myself.
yeah.
But no, so also, I've gotten so much good out of Twitter. I've gotten literally one of the best friendships I've ever had, like from
Sure.
Twitter. And I've met like a lot, not you,
Sure.
but like I've met, but no,
Wrap it up. 3 to 5 sentences. That was like 6. I'm good.
no, but so I've met a ton of great people. Some of the
Sure.
funniest jokes I've ever seen in my life have come
Sure.
from Twitter. Most of the
Oh,
inside
man.
jokes.
I don't know
like,
why we're not paying for Twitter yet, but that's a different
Oh
story.
no, I know.
No,
And like, no, cut that part out. No. I know.
It ain't a problem.
See what I'm saying? Like that's all Twitter jokes, and it's so funny.
Twitter has its
so
own culture.
yeah, no, and it does. And so honestly, I think the world would be a much different place without it. And I think
Much better place.
no, but I truthfully mean like, who's to say? But for me personally,
Wrap it up then.
Yeah, I feel like it was. I feel like the world's kind of a better place because of it. I've made great friendships, and I love it. I go on Twitter all day.
So
3 to 5 sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So-
can't do 3 to 5 sentences after a
I think-
2-hour podcast.
I think like we compare different areas of Twitter, but if we had Twitter, like if we just had Twitter now, we had no idea what 2012 Twitter was, then we would be happy with it. We would have our pros and our cons, but we'd be like, oh, it's not as good as the good old days. But like Twitter is very bittersweet. It's very beneficial because it creates relationships in like the local area you live in, even internationally. But it creates this mob mentality that I think really plagues people our age, like really badly, and it makes people.
It's a lure.
It makes people not look into things to think independently. It makes them get all their information from one space and one group think.
Sheeple.
And it literally just turns people into drones looking for something to fit the narrative. They're looking for stuff to cherry pick. They don't want truth, and they don't want like the actual underlying like just basics of something. They want to hear how this can benefit their views. and then they want to get everyone they know that believes the same thing they
To
do,
roll
and they
into the
want to
same
get them to
wagon.
all rally up and then like shun anyone who disagrees.
Right.
And it doesn't create this space that's like that can have conversations like this. like people need to sit down and have stuff like this, but on stuff they disagree with,
Right.
and actually come to progress and actually come to like conclusions where they can do something beneficial rather than just sit and bitch out on the internet, right? And
3 to
so
5 sentences.
and so like
Well, the guy's going on longer than I was.
and so like it's very bittersweet. I think it does a lot
Those are your
to
words,
help
not
someone.
mine.
I think it does a lot to help someone personally, like with their personal life, like you said, like funny jokes and good relationships. But I think on a bigger scale, it's doing a lot of harm.
It
And
just
if it's not
depends on the
assessed-
person.
And
Yeah.
if it's not
What you
assessed,
focus
like
on.
it could,
I think
it could do some harm.
jumping off what you're saying, it does do a lot of harm because you have to really think before you speak, and that's a trait that a lot of people don't have. And I
It's
think,
all impulsive.
Common
yeah, less
sense
than
isn't
5 years
common
ago,
anymore.
people were like tweeting before they were thinking about what they were saying, and that's why you have a lot of those, looking back at like searching through your Twitter and like seeing all the words you said, the F word, the N word, all that stuff.
or like stuff where someone tweets something and there's an outrage and then the tweet underneath it is, oh, this was actually totally not true at all.
Right. Yeah.
And that like not getting
Yeah.
any type of attention at all.
But don't get me wrong, I'm here for the memes, and I'm here for the SoundCloud links right beneath those viral
oh my
links.
God, yeah, I'm here for that.
I
I'm
didn't
here
go to
for,
SoundCloud, but here's my Cash App, or here's my
Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Shout out to the girls with Cash App and PayPal in their bio. You
Yeah.
still ain't gonna get
Y'all ain't
shit.
shit.
Hey, bro, respect
You
the
ain't.
hustle, because some of them have gotten some donations.
Yeah.
Like selling
Yeah.
feet pics for $3,000.
But they
Like,
still ain't shit.
Pics. Terrible clip.
All right.
This is a great session. I want to say shout out to CDC, Create, Distribute, Collect. You guys have really put us on this platform that
Yeah,
could
good shit, boys.
yeah, they could definitely let us
Thanks for
talk
the laughs.
about bullshit for the last
Little
2
audience
hours.
back there.
And again, shout out to Dylan, shout out to K-Tub. I appreciate you guys for coming out. This is the first Airwave episode that we've had, and I plan on doing more probably bi-monthly, 2 times a month, not bi-weekly. We know you get paid bi-weekly, but you really get paid every week.
It's bi-monthly.
Bi-weekly means twice a week, people. Use it correctly.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I hope to have a lot more content now. If you guys like this video, please subscribe. It's free, and you're not going to do anything else. You're not paying for it. Come on
Yeah,
now.
this was quality shit.
Yeah,
to
this was
listen to.
quality. We went through a lot of hassle. I
And
bought
this
this
was our
IKEA. I
first
bought this
go-round.
table at IKEA yesterday last night. Got
These
home.
legs aren't even connected to the fucking table. You know how foreign that has to
Do
be?
you see how fake? You see how fake these succulents are? Come on now. I didn't pay good money for nothing.
Succulents, bro.
All right, everybody. I appreciate it. My name is Alfred Romero, and thank you for your time. Peace, everybody.
Later.
Nice. That's a wrap. Thanks, guys.